Yeah.
Blunt passing, music blasting, music blasting. Yeah. Love. I got the blunt passing, music blasting, music blasting. But I just can't quit. Roll up the next one and roll up the next one and roll up the next one. Because I just can't quit. I got the music.
Bumping so hard, my bitch's boobs bounce. On my way to Mo's house, he probably breaking up an ounce. Gotta stop for a bottle of Febreze. I don't even smoke it, all my clothes smell like trees. Weed clouds in the air, and I'm sure that my Xbox got more residue than Junior Gong's dreadlocks. Speaker box hooked to the amp wires quick. Now I'm out for blood like a vampire grip with the
music lasting.
Time for some action.
I'm in my Cadillac, but you can't see cause of the black tint. Nope. Is that really him? Self-titled is really 10 times the Cobra Slither. A reptilian, yes sir. And he'll reptilian in a casket, but until then he's a bastard. Stealing from donation baskets, holding a gat on the front of his motivation pamphlet.
I got the blunt passing, music blasting, music blasting. But I just can't quit. Roll up the next one and roll up the next one and roll up the next one. Because I just can't quit. I got the blunt passing.
With a little bit of hash, it's so hot, sound like I got a down south accent. I'm laughing at all this traffic like it ain't no thing. My music blast past dudes in the breakdown lane. Big Daddy with the cane, no half steps. Sad sex, stretch cash, longs, giraffe necks. Puff piff by the pound, eyes slanted, man. Like my mom's fuck around with Jackie Chan. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sit back, relax, and watch demigods twirl. Collecting samples all around the world. Popping up a stripper joints, blowing with old girl. She bent over, then I blew it in her puss. This shit here is called watermelon kush. Hold your nose, the contact is meaner. Roll up, out west, the grass is greener.
I got the blunt passing, music blasting, music blasting. But I just can't quit. Roll up the next one and roll up the next one and roll up the next one. Because I just can't quit. I got the
beat weapon, hail to the chief. Man, I sail through the streets in a Jeep like a sea captain.
Cheers.
Ahoy faggots, all hands on deck. You all stink, but I wreak havoc. So keep at it, I'ma smack you with a skeet napkin. Let's just chill and wait until the beef passes. Ain't nothing happening. Music blasting, blunt passing.
I don't know about IRL, but RuneScape is super easy.
Like collection plates, so roll up the next blunt. I ain't got time to waste. You hear the bass in your faces, I give you a taste. The gun on my waist, put them in the casket case. Bitch, please, you better gangsta ass past the mace. Where I'm from, these California slums be tougher than my lungs. What I'm smoking got me speaking in tongues.
I got the blunt passing, music blasting, music blasting. But I just can't quit. Roll up the next one and roll up the next one and roll up the next one. Because I just can't quit. I got the blunt passing, music blasting, music blasting.
What ski would be what?
Roll up the next one and roll up the next one and roll up the next one. Because I just can't quit. I'm gonna call my crew, you gon' call your crew.
Rune crafting.
We gon' do what we came to do.
Rune crafting or rolling up be? Rolling up. I mean, yeah, fire making and wood cutting. This cutting down the tree and then you lighting the tree on fire. You know, be an amalgamation of the two.
Trying to flush the dope when they found me. And the men behind these walls murder niggas that get you mouthy down to die for my dignity. God bless the nigga that doubt me, cause it's either me or him, and I'm bet you're choosing me. If it's confusion, both of us gon' be using in the street. I got to do some shit to them before they do some shit to me. Niggas kill you when you ain't looking, they knew they could compete. I'm just as crooked as a politician, cold on my opposition. Taking chances so I can pay the price tag for proper living. Got one foot in the grave and one foot in the penitentiary. That speak my name, hope you choking down when you mention me, bitch. Cause all my life I live illegal. Don't get no fuck about the law when my pockets reaching zero. I'm thinking about taking these kilos from these three amigos. Do shit they can
American way. You know how we roll.
I'm just like you, and you just like me. Getting high, yeah, cheap my dreams.
Coffin's construction.
Just like you, and you just like me. Hustle hard, try and swing my speed. Said I'm just like you, and you just
The coffin looked like it would be like this cloud here.
raise my seed.
Yeah.
Said I'm just like you.
Looks like it'd be Slayer because it looks like it's got a little bit of a cloud.
My chick's thicker than the bottom of the Kool-Aid pitcher, and my swisher's thick enough to be a Magic City stripper. Full of that sticky ink, you gotta flick it off your finger. Haters can't hit it with me, so I flip them out a finger. Cause I stay in my peephole, expecting them people. Walking, talking donuts and coffee wrapped up in street clothes. Loose lip niggas
Disrespecting the G code.
I don't fuck with nobody, what they fucking with me for? I'm just out here chasing minds, trying to watch my step. While the watchers watch your hustle, watch your watch it, watch your neck. If you know what time it is, you can't be slipping for a sec. And if you want what I'm on, your life is playing through the jet.
Just like you, and you just like me. Getting high, yeah, chief my tweets. And I'm just like you, and you just like me. Hustle hard, try and swing my speed. Said I'm just like you, and you just like me. In the jungle, try and raise my seeds. And I'm just like you, and you just like me. Man, we all got wants and needs. Said I'm just like you.
Boop, 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 boop. Dude.
I'm lifted, drifted in clouds I created. In a world full of sedated, I'm sedated. Faded, but not barbershop related. More like a jump shot, lean back and made it.
Kush.
Soaring through the sky so high, gravity no longer applies. In search of the truth while the world spins on lies. Revise, televise, tell me lies, tell me lies. Life is a gamble, mark the cards, load the dice. Backstabbers find the best spines to bury knives. May they die the true death, addicted to every vice. See the barrel, catch every bullet like Jerry Rice. I feel like Simon Phoenix, I'm thought that we all nice. Rapping's off his hospital cotton is alright, alright. Dressed like Brian McKnight in all white, pants tight. Tell they West Side Story in France like dance fight. Damn it, this is not my planet. At least I hope not, cause I really can't stand it. And if it is, so be it, I'ma speak it how I see it. And let that be the dirty acres flag, pledge allegiance. You feel me? Feel me?
Squirt. That is you, Music Man. I'm Music Man. You so high you got this cart? I just ripped the toke. I'm stoned as shit myself.
We lifted, drifted in clouds, we created.
Go, baby.
In a world full of sedated, we sedated.
Faded, but I'm not barbershop related.
More like a jump shot, lean back, we
You made it free.
Free as the bird, I'm flipping the earth. Beat him sour D by the Oscar, flipping the earth. Running the blood, catching the rapture, ripping the earth. Shotgun and a dime with an extra clip in a purse. The type of chick to suggest that you sit and build with a purse. Grew up singing in church, but dreamed of being a nurse. Singing this, that, and the first about which rapper she twerked. Then she blah, 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 blah. I blasted off to the stars. I'm huffing dro out these jars. My mind's traveling through bars. I blaze so far to the future, my kids was in flying cars. I'm set on invading Venus. You keep the penis on Mars.
Oh, way too convenient? Yeah, see, I like carts and shit, but call me old school, man. Nothing will ever beat a joint. You can't spuff a cart? Well, some, so yeah, like most you can't, yeah. You can get like, your own like base battery, you know what I mean? That you can get your own battery and just whatnot, that you just screw like a 5/10 onto or something. That's what I do. Oh, I thought that was somebody else completely. He's got a 99 agility. A fat, dirty motherfucker living life in a cage. My trifling ways have got me nodding off in the days. So call me insane, it's almost like I'm caught in a maze. I cop the bomber's product, chopping up this chronic for days. Shit you got is okay, but dog, it's not all the same. Cause I'm a kush critic, I push that good spinach. You can smell it through the bag before you even look in it. You should buy in bulk, it ain't easy to come by. Everybody want it, so I'm sleeping with one eye. You smoke Bammer and you still broke, faggot. And you mad cause your chick look like Bilbo bagging. Even if the weed's bunk, you gon' still go grab it. Plus you don't even inhale, you should kill those habits. I'm sorry buddy, I ain't letting it slide. Cause I'm a top-notch smoker, you can tell from my eyes. All I need is a light. Sorry bass, that counts buffs, that's hilarious. Good man, good man. I just got a little douche flute. I just got one of these little douche flutes. Now I'm smoking while I'm walking down the crossroads, and I'm known to stay around the grass like a lawn gnome. They keep on knocking at my door, but I'm not home, so I'm rolling up, and with the hands, I'm Luongo. Plus I'm good with the math, it's like a stock broke. You still smoking weed in a can, I brought my bong, no. Homie, you can put your swag away, save it for a rainy day, I never really take a break. I got trees beat, I don't even need friends, I just went and put it on wax, no G-pen. Let's have a toke, golden. I am listening to Lash, and yeah, let's toke. Everybody heard it, huh? Say I suffer from addiction, but I can go this shit on my own with no prescription. I'm always smoking, but the alcohol is different. And every single time I think I'm about to call it quits, then all I need is a light and some haze, so I can chill, lay back and relax and smoke nice. All I need is a light and some haze. It's how I feel, it's a fact, I pass it to the right. All I need is a light and some haze, so I can chill, lay back and relax and smoke nice. All I need is a light and some haze. It's how I feel, it's a fact, we pass it to the right. Hey, yo, pass that shit, Merc. I ain't even hit it yet. Trying to kill some brain cells. Tell me I'm an idiot. The stress inside my melon, dog. I'm trying to get rid of it. My head is always in a fog. I'm dying just to live a bit. Put it on the paper, then I'm sprinkling the pixie dust. Every day I smoke a quarter, AAA, $60. Got a bag of pick-me-ups. Ain't nobody sick as us. Next time you kiss your grandma, just remember that she licked my nuts. Smoke good, it's obvious you can't even front. Look like I'm puking on myself when you hand me the blunt. I got a fully loaded rifle and I'm planning to hunt. These rappers looking at me like they got some sand in the cup. You smoking on that bunk weed and you trying to brag until I come around smelling like a skunk in my bag and buying that dirt. I only care for the best, and I'ma burn it till there ain't no fucking air in my chest. Believe that. Cheers, homie. Let's go, baby. Cheers. So I can chill, lay back and relax and smoke nice. All I need is a light and some haze. It's how I feel, it's a fact, we pass it to the right. 2014. I highly recommend this company here. If you can ever get this company, get this shit, bro. Best oil I've ever smoked in my goddamn life. And I've had multiple people tell me that. Their vapes, bro. This one in particular, where is it? Slurple? This Slurple cart, man, I'm telling you, this shit is different. This shit is different. This cart here, bro. Best oil I've ever smoked from anywhere, anyone. It's like it tastes like fucking just amazing. Best. It's just right up my alley. It's like orange kush. That's the best way to describe it. But like, It's just the flavor depth's just amazing. How much for a G? 25 bucks Canadian. That's the thing too, it's cheap. That's the thing, it's cheap as fuck too. Most carts around here are like 45 bucks, 50 bucks. You know what I mean? Most carts around here are 35, 45, 55 bucks, like in that price range. So when I bought it, it's like 25 bucks. This is gonna fucking suck. But it was actually fucking legendary. $80 to $120 for exotic, and for like an ounce, you mean? No, 1G. Damn, that's wild. But you're shutting every word. Yeah, what you feeling like a feeling? Put your hands to the ceiling, but it's only about to get fucked up. Yup. Thank you for shouting me out on your live. Thank you for token with me too. I tried to get going at the same time. Also, the 10 gram weed and about 40 per cart. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, weed. This is like the weed that I'd be getting, you know? $750 for a half pound. $900 for like Supreme Blueberry, like. You know what I'm saying? This is the shit that I'd be getting. No, they won't strip to New York. Yeah, it's... You have to walk in like a bum? Nah, man, I walk in too sometimes. I get my carts from a dispenser. Udi? Udi? Oh. Oh, weed. Okay. Slang for weed. Weed. Lee. Okay, okay. You got some Lee? That's hilarious. Some Lee.
I once knew a nigga whose real name was William. His primary concern was making $1 million, being the illest hustler that the world ever seen. He used to fuck movie stars and sniff coke in his dreams. A corrupted young mind at the age of 13. Nigga never had a father and his mom was a fiend. She put the pipe down, but for every year she was sober, her son's heart simultaneously grew colder. He started hanging out, selling bags in the projects, checking the young chicks looking for hit and run prospects. He was fascinated by material objects, but he understood money never bought respect. He built a reputation cause he could hustle and steal, but got locked once and didn't hesitate to squeal. So criminals he chilled with didn't think he was real. You see, me
That's where you get your bud, oui. So bonjour, monsieur, comment ça va, Golden?
So he felt he had to prove to everyone he was evil. A feeble-minded young man with infinite potential, the product of a ghetto-bred capitalistic mental. Coincidentally, dropped out of school to sell weed, dancing with the devil, smoked until his eyes would bleed. But he was sick of selling trees and gave in to his greed. Everyone trying to be trife, never face the consequences. You probably only did a month for minor offenses. Ask a nigga doing life if he had another chance. But then again, there's always the wicked that knew in advance. Dance forever with the devil on a cold cell block. But that's what happens when you rape, murder, and sell rock. Devils used to be gods, angels that fell from the top. There's no diversity because we're burning in the melting pot. So Billy started robbing niggas, anything he could do to get his respect back in the eyes of his crew. Starting fights over little shit up on the block. Stepped up to selling mothers and brothers the crack rock. Working overtime, making money for the crack spot. Hit the jackpot and wanted to move up to cocaine. Fulfilling the Scarface fantasy stuck in his brain. Tired of the block niggas treating him the same. He wanted to be
yeah, that's not bad.
But when he tried to step to him, niggas showed him no love. They told him any motherfucking coward can sell drugs.
It's mandatory to take in school if you're not.
Any nigga with a red shirt can front like a blood. Even Puffy smoked the motherfucker up in the club. But only a real thug can stab someone till they die. Standing in front of them, staring straight into their eyes. Billy realized that these men were well guarded, and they wanted to test him before business started. Suggested raping a bitch to prove he was cold-hearted. So now he had a choice between going back to his life or making money with made men. Up in the sight, his dreams about cars and ice.
But speak it, bro. I wish I took Spanish instead of French. Are you kidding me? What is mandatory? Français. French.
Everyone trying to be trife, never face the consequences.
Up till like grade 10.
Probably only did a month for minor offenses. Ask a nigga doing life if he had another chance.
Used to be anyway.
Always the wicked
When I was in school.
advance. Dance forever with the devil on a cold cell block. But that's what happens when you rape, murder, and sell rock. Devils used to be gods, angels that fell from the top. There's no diversity because we're burning in the melting pot. They drove around the project slow while it was raining, smoking blunts, drinking and joking for entertainment, until they saw a woman on the street walking alone, 3 in the morning, coming back from work on the way home. And so they quietly got out the car and followed her.
It used to be like you're older or something. I mean, I'm 26, turned 27, bro. I'm getting there.
Around their head and knocked her onto the floor. This is it, kid. Now you got your chance to be raw. So Billy yoked her up and grabbed the chick by the hair and dragged her into a lobby that had nobody there. She struggled hard, but they forced her to go up the stairs. They got to the roof and then held her down on the ground, screaming, "Shut the fuck up and stop moving around." The shirt covered her face, but she screamed and clawed. So Billy stomped on the bitch till he broke in her jaw. Them dirty bastards knew exactly what they were doing. They kicked her until they cracked her ribs and she stopped moving. Blood leaking through the cloth, she cried silently. And then they all proceeded.
The last years of being like on the like the middle of 25, it's all downhill from there, bro. Trust me.
Mumbled for God, but they weren't concerned when they were done and she was
It's all downhill from here.
broken and bruised. One of them niggas pulled out a brand new 22. They told him that she was a witness for what she'd gone through, and if he killed her, he was guaranteed a spot in the crew. He thought about it for a minute. She was practically dead, and so he leaned over and put the gun right to her head. I'm falling and I can't turn back. I'm falling and I can't turn back. Right before he pulled the trigger and ended her life. He thought about the cocaine with the platinum and ice, and he felt strong standing along with his new brothers. Cocked the gat to her head and pulled back the shirt cover, but what he saw made him start to cringe and stutter, cause he was staring into the eyes of his own mother. She looked back at him and cried cause he had forsaken her. She cried more painfully, and when they were raping her, his whole world stopped. He couldn't even contemplate. His corruption had successfully changed his fate, and he remembered how his mom used to come home late, working hard for nothing, cause now what was he worth? He turned away from the woman that had once given him birth, and crying out to the sky cause he was lonely and scared, but only the devil responded cause God wasn't there. And right then he knew what it was to be empty and cold, and so he jumped off the roof and died with no soul. They say death takes you to a better place, but I doubt it. After that they killed his mother and never spoke about it. And listen, cause the story that I'm telling is true. Cause I was there with Billy Jacobs and I raped his mom too. And now the devil follows me everywhere that I go. In fact, I'm sure he's standing among one of you at my shows. In every street cipher listening to Little Thug's flow. He could be standing right next to you and you wouldn't know. The devil grows inside the hearts of the selfish and wicked. White, brown, yellow, and black color is not restricted. You have a self-destructive destiny when you're inflicted. And you'll be one of God's children that fell from the top. There's no diversity because we're burning in the melting pot. So when the devil wants to dance with you, you better say never. Because a dance with the devil might last you forever.
I just listened to that song. I think I'm my homies who are addicted to smoking crack. Oh god. Fallen soldiers. Homeless and shit.
Yeah. It's another one of them smoking songs, you know what I'm saying? Yes. Where my potheads at? Right here. Yeah. CT, check it. We rolling trees and smoking. La 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 la. Another weed song from me. Burning more trees than Cheech Chong. Red and meth all rolled together in the same L. We smoke blunts all day, you can't tell. Hell, I'm stomping in with my boots on. Rolling to the diner with my half off coupon. Fuck. I've been burning since I was newborn. So high, flying through space with Jimmy Neutron. That's how I do, man. Rock the rhythm. You would think I had a motherfucking pot prescription, like the doctor's flipping. My grass stay fresh cut, sticky, icky, wet stuff. Put it in the next dust. But last time I had a checkup, the doc said my brain was not fully developed. Fuck. But it just don't matter. I'ma have to roll the next blunt fatter. Ha. Just break it up, just smoke that. Now twist it up and smoke that. Now light it up and smoke that. And then we'll keep on burning. The way this weed hit your chest should invest in Kevlar. Chillin' on Saturn, cruising in the XR. Every day I got the best bars and the best weed, same color as Reptar. Yes. We stay late.
Turn it up.
In my own entourage, smoking like turtle. Fuck all the commercials, they all straight lies. Acting like I'm gon' kill a motherfucker cause I'm high. The most I'm likely to
The song's louder than me.
Fridge, chill on the couch.
You're crazy.
Leave in my crib, shit. But that's just how I do. Stay high, seeing from my bird's eye view. I walk into a room and everybody starts sniffing. Like, oh my god, I can guarantee that's Christian. It's 9 in the morning, yo, what the fuck's with him? And I'm like, chill, I got a weed addiction, like. Just break it up and smoke that. Now twist it up and smoke that. Now light it up and smoke that.
This kid's a mod. This kid's a mod.
Ganja, every day we burn Dutchies and always stay around more trees than Fern Gully. I earn money, spend on weed and burn money. Got the dice in my hand, can't take my turn from me. I rip like a beast when I hit the beats, but it's just weed when they say I'm equipped with heat. Please, shit's leaving you in disbelief. I'm that monster at your door, bitch, trick or treat. The way I freestyle shit, that really baffles me. Cause I'm a pothead, call me Johnny Appleseed. I got a dub and a Dutch, let's roll and spark till we start to see shit like Joan of Arc. I know I'm smart, I know I'm nice. That's why y'all can't see me like a poltergeist. Smoking la la la, give that bowl of light. Grab the bong even tighter than I hold the mic. Like just break it up and smoke that. Now twist it up and smoke that. Now light it up and smoke that. And then we'll keep on burning. Stay burning. Yeah, that's what it is, baby.
Which mods you gotta use? Inventory setup, improved tile, quest helper. I tried the updated graphics, wasn't a huge fan. Tile markers, I should download that actually. But it's alright. What am I doing? Should have just been fletching. I don't know what I was doing.
Rockin' with my niggas.
What else? Rockin' with my niggas. Side. I was broke. I was broke. I was broke, trying to get some smoke, hustling in the snow, drinking Henny. Now I'm on a boat, talking price of coke. I'm a fool when I'm off a perk. They say I do the most, trying to ride my wave and drown. Bitch, all I do is float. Private jet, just me and my.
I gotta work, picking up. See you later. Have a good stream. Yo, Imperianox, appreciate you, bro. You have a good one as always. You have a good one as always. Yeah, I don't really use too many of these plugins, honestly.
Man, I can't remember nothing. Last night was a blur. I ain't even feeling uptight or what might have occurred. Probably acting kind of rowdy, all hype and absurd. I don't really hold back. I ain't the type to conserve. Woke up and realized I got nothing to do for the rest of the day, and I ain't gonna stress it away.
I'm gonna be going to KBD pretty soon. So. Yo, what's up, little man? Come here, bud. Come here. How's my dude? What's up, dude? Hi. How's my guy? Come over here. Come here, buddy. Oh, fine, you little rugrat. Now who?
If you talking negative, then I ain't hearing it, man. And if you don't understand, I'll be as clear as I can. We got no time for drama, we just having a blast. Just soaking up the moment, cause it's happening fast. So we just keep living like today was our last. Cause tomorrow's never promised, yesterday's in the past. Ain't making any plans, we just go with the flow. Just living in the moment, cause it's all that we know. Feel on top of the world, it's the weather, I bet. I got a feeling that today's a day I'll never forget.
Yo, boss man. This is never fails.
The cops are knocking at the door, but we don't plan on stopping. Guess they probably already know that's why they turned around and now they're leaving us alone. Give me a beat and best believe I'm in my zone. I'm smoking to relieve the stress inside my dome. Don't need to know what you've been puffing on. I got my own now, we really getting in it. Take a minute to reflect. Life is over.
That's a grinder right there, chat. That's a fucking grinder.
I got a feeling that tonight I'll never forget. I can feel it deep inside. It's so good to be alive. This is where I wanna be. Wish this would last forever. Right now I feel the best. I know I'm not the only one. Don't care.
Yeah, I just want to craft all these, or like fletch all these, and then sell. Come on.
This the Fino hunt. We burn vibes, we don't breathe on blunts. I've been eating all month, I don't need no lunch. This the Bay in LA, California King. Keep exotic in our lungs, keep that blue dream. 2 zips to the fly, where the sweet tea at? Stiletto in the limoncello, we need that. We breed that. Next level head stash, let 'em make memes. I sit back and watch the bread stack. Look, this year I'm on one. Play with me, I'm the wrong one. Let me show you how to keep the price up. Shit moves so quick, I put some more lights up. If you get the right cut, you can step your life up. Do the whole plant hang, don't fuck the dry up. I'm a shot caller, homie, I don't keep the ice tucked. Came a long way from shipping on the road, 5 trucks. Big home, money and cars. It feel good to be alive. California is ours. I want it all. Yeah, the money and
I just bought a baseball, like a pitching machine, so I'm gonna be going down to the baseball diamonds almost every day this year. after work and shit, and I'll just be fucking cranking it some homies, man. I bought two bins of balls. Each have like 150, so 300 total balls. I was gonna crank 300 balls every day after work. It'd be like an hour's worth. I like reading. I like taking my dog for a walk. Hanging with friends, you know?
It ain't easy with the strains popping off. Shout out to JBC, had to run, never knew how to crawl. We on call, you don't know trick, we want it all.
I want it all. Big home, money, and cars. It feel good to be alive. California is ours. I want it all. Yeah, the money and fame. Burning, be real. We running the game. I want it all. Plush light, plenty of ice. A little spot on the island for the kids and the wife.
Actually,
everything from seed to sale. It feel good to watch the team prevail.
Lottie-dottie, smoking on gelati. Atmosphere foggy, my blunt is Snoop Dogg. Hold your breath, kick in your chest like karate. Smoke empire, well distributed like Gazi. Life's good, why not celebrate it? Good vibes, smoking these vibes and getting faded. It's hard to be jealous, I'm just happy I made it. For the next level money, it take hard work and patience. Hey, I want it all, not just part. I treat the grind like a work of art. Every end's another start. We all getting that bread, it's like a team sport. I just want the meals, you can keep the plate.
Never. Don't really care about zombies.
If you blazing on some trash, I get outspoken, beat the case. Now let's get back to the smoking, big homie. I want it all.
Big home, money, and cars. It feel good to be alive. California is ours.
240 him.
Yeah, the money and fame. Burning, be real. We running the game.
Bro, what's my fucking task?
Plenty of ice, a little spot on the island for the kids and the wife. I want it all. Everything from seed to sale. It feel good to watch
I don't have one.
Prevail. I want it all.
99 tasks in a row. I don't have one. Okay.
Well,
Well, let's go do that real quick. Let's go get a task.
Not partial, not half, not some, not almost. I want all of it, man. Give it to me, man. Power wow, baby. Teamwork. Hey, hey.
Just
Oh, I didn't want to do that. No, I just fucked up. Free! Let's give me this. 182 digging off. Thanks. Damn. Do we really want to kill Dagonoth though? I mean, I might as well just get the 100 in a row. Fuck, yeah. I always like looking at people's names in the same sometime, honestly. Unique ones for sure. Lance walking, except you're running. Lance walking, yet he was running.
Every feature that I write make your head hurt like I just came to beat you with a pipe. Don't care about tomorrow, cause I'm living for the day. I got a buffet of problems and I'm giving them away, man. I gotta make a change, this shit is way past due. When it comes to booze, I'm in a different weight class, dude. Moderation just something that my brain can't do. This hotel room looking like a train came through. Fuck it.
Damn.
One of these days I'm
That account's legit as fuck.
gonna get my feedback
Damn.
on the ground. I'm gonna be good, gonna find a quiet place to recover somewhere and settle down. One of these
That's crazy.
days I'm gonna be gone and you're gonna miss having me around.
Gone, hey.
I'll just keep running wild.
That's 70 mil.
I'm gonna get my shit to
You know what? Fuck it. We're just gonna go KBD. I don't care.
gonna be good, gonna find a quiet place to recover somewhere and settle down. One of these days I'm gonna be gone and you're gonna miss having me around. Till then, I'll just keep running wild. Shit.
I fucked up.
I don't know, man. Just feels like we're a lot different. Kind of feels like.
He's up there, Eminem. Where is it? Oh no. Motherfucker.
Niggas got pinched, they ain't keep it silent. In other words, niggas snitched and they deserve violence. Take 100-pound loss and get you off balance. My side bitch Geechee told me meet her on the island. If you don't know the time, get a timepiece, cause we don't do the watch. Shoes match the belt, Australian croc. Sipping pineapple juice, chilled on the rocks. How could we do a little when we do a lot? Don't get shot over petty cash. You got two options. You gon' pay me or pay the doctor, or they gon' find over 100 shells. And you gon' get flown in by the nightingale. They could've saved you, but that bullet made your brain swell. That's the price you pay for trying to run off with 2 slabs and a half a bail. Where the coffin and where the nails, this niggas finish. Old dog got it like Hurl trying to be a menace. Drinking juice in the hood. I'ma say this one more time. Let's just get this understood. It's the KINGKONGGOTCHA exclamation. No explanations. I'm trying to hide million for my children out in the Caymans. Fuck being famous.
And then what else do we need?
Remain nameless. Remain nameless.
But I gotta set up my fucking.
Kind of state. Bullets, clear your thoughts, push your mind out of space. Focus. You can see disaster when it strikes. Asteroid lost orbit, crashed into the moon. Tsunami come with the verses. Black snub, 38 special, come with the purses. Black gloves, ski mask, now you begging for mercy. Known atheists put their daughter out of a church before they put them into the dirt. No hand on the Bible, no Allah, salute a flag. Fuck Lady Liberty. She can suck a dick till she gag. I cut class to puff pass and touch ass. Suited, I'm sharp enough to cut glass. If it feature me, it's a must have. Wanna speak to me, then he must ask. Hands raised, wait for acknowledgement. These rappers all fear the work of God. Listen, I'm an anomaly. I killed it, yeah, it's my fault. I'm an apology. All this reaching you're doing, prosthetic, it gotta be. You acting and role playing, how you ain't got no props for me? I'm the illest in all errors. Wanna battle, bring pallbearers. King Kong terror. Mink soil leathers get made out of anything that step in my path. On the road to the riches, learn a lesson in that. If you're listening, you're shivering from what I just said. Coke or heroin, OD on either one and you're dead. From a lineage of hustlers, little bro in the feds. Sold enough cocaine to do life on the spread, but I was blessed. Allah won't let them jelly niggas leave me jam. But you never see me pigeon hell. To that in the kitchen smell. To all my rhymes are written up in the prison cell. You tell the same kind of stories that a snitcher tell. Mind playing tricks, same lies, vision tell. But my bed sheets the material of the ribbon on the winner's prize. So I wake up on the winner side. So I'm even energized in the wintertime. And I keep an apron on cause it's always dinner time. You cook the meals and you guaranteed to eat. So I don't understand niggas' fantasies to eat. I got the big alkaline plate feasting like a king. You calcifying your face and eating anything, peasant. You should let me guide you to the light. Just know niggas still gonna despise you, despite setting the example how to do the shit right. You demonstrate one time and do the shit twice. So you shook them, blew them through them and hit trips nice. Niggas gonna say you had trick dice.
I prefer a joint. That's my go-to method, you know?
Get up, you good-for-nothing lazy.
Hot knifing's always nice. Hot knife, like a dab is essentially just a hot knife through a bomb. Time is it 2:49? Chronically addicted to weed. I'm chronically addicted as well, but I like smoking joints.
7 years later, at a quarter of 11, with thirst for the revenue, songs for the youth, also the ones that never blew.
Man, scissor, instant
never been the pain on a hard road of life that ain't never been the same. I can't cry, but it feels like heaven when it rains round hard-headed dudes that ain't never gonna change till slugs been exchanged or blood leaves the veins of a young thug slain for his pride or his name, his girl or his chain. A mother lost a son in a world so strange. I can't think of any equivalent pain or words to condone how it feels to lose a child now and live so alone, so alone. Yeah.
I do believe I failed you. I know I've let you down. I do believe I failed you.
Yeah.
I know I've let you down.
Just listen, man. Life's like a roll of the dice. You win some or lose some. When I was young, my pop told me advice. My mom told me put God in my life. My mind told me get money. Then the cops came and told me my rights. Told myself I was nice with a mic. I rhyme well. Figured that time would tell. Would I make it or fail? By the time I'm 22, I'm in jail for drug sales. Posted a bill and wound back up in the cell. Felt like I was driven to fail. A priest told me I was living in hell. The streets told me I was living for real. And my mind kept giving me chills. Cause nothing folds like Benjamin Bills. 7 Hills was a hustler's dream. Out of town niggas came to get cream. I lived here. How the fuck could I not? I sold crack, cocaine, and pop.
Good old Benji's.
Since a youngin' I done changed a lot. Come on.
Not in this bond, but mine will just be like a joint or a dab.
Steady searching for my kinds like a dire need. Every day I'm watching liars eat and leech while I starve, sleep and listen to the fire teach. Peace. Every day I pray for it. Every blessing I receive I try and pay for it. But sometimes the sun shines more like a gun line. Boss better call one time. Running blind in this strange journey. I hope I'm still alive when they bring gurneys. In this world where friends are more attorney than Bert or Ernie, it hurts me deep. Peep, I'm steady learning, and then when it's money, but it's all good. Most Robin Hoods ain't got a married man in Sherwood. Find a good heart, no Google search could. Brothers was killing brothers in Eden where we first stood. The last of a dying breed. I'm curious. All my people on lockdown, Lord. Mysterious. Last of a dying breed. Everybody here better stop now. Nothing gonna slow that clock down, Lord. I'm furious.
Move to edibles. Edibles get me way too stoned. Either they don't get me stoned at all, or I'm just absolutely ruined.
Robbing through blurred lines, levels of good and evil, graded on curved lines. The pinnacles of pentacle, bewitching the cynical, left stranded on a planet where the wicked survive. Say no to truth while addicted to lies. Gentrify and remove the hood like it was just a disguise. Throw the blank out a blanket party like it's just a surprise. The menace of what lives in us, seeking to thrive. Menace of what gives in us, eating alive. Apocalypse approaches in the form of divide. Too many bees in the trap, bare hands in the hive. Reacting to what's sweet with the sting out of mind.
The last of a dying breed. I'm curious. All my people on lockdown, Lord. Mysterious. Last of a dying breed. Everybody here better stop now. Nothing gonna slow that clock down, Lord. I'm furious.
I remember smoking a joint for my first time. I was just instantly hooked.
Of a dying breed. I'm curious.
Yo, T-Man, how you been, bro?
Lockdown, Lord. Mysterious, say. Last of a dying breed. Everybody here better stop now. Nothing gonna slow that clock down. No, I'm furious.
Go, what happened to wishing a nigga luck? I can clearly peep a snake through these cardiac buffs. I was that nigga in the cut that they had thought wouldn't be nothing. Just wanted to play in the streets, had forced my hand, I had to do something. Who that? BGE, but we move around like the Black Mafia family. I can't have snitches in my circle, got real murders around me. You can't just kick shit in my trap, break down and break the chun-li. I put my quota in some baggage, get arrested, auntie. You ain't mobile, bring it to your door and serve you like subpoena. How the hell you go from selling dope to selling out arenas? You can win, bet it all, roll the dice, life a gamble. Close your eyes and blow out a candle. Wish me luck. Trying to get the cake. I'm in and out of state. At least you can wish me luck. Many niggas fade. It's hard to tell a snake. One more flip and I'm straight. At least you can wish me luck. I don't go hand to hand. It go round off the gram. You holler at me, man. At least you can wish me luck. Too many niggas fake. It's hard to
That was perfect pick eating right there.
The D's ain't that good.
That was
These
sick.
niggas is ratting. They tell them what's going on, that's how they know what's happening. I'm riding with the top down, trunk full of Yola. Ghetto pharmaceutical, I move that Coca-Cola. 1,000 grams of Purito, I fuck with the weirdos. They snort away the pain, bang the dope in they vein. Shorty crying Christmas, they coming up, pops locked up. When it hurts the worst, she aged, find out she knocked up. Welfare ain't an option when the feds come knocking. It's all fucked up, so wish me luck. Wish me luck. Trying to get the cake, I'm in and out of state. At least you can wish me luck. Many niggas fade.
Cheers.
Nigga started off as a youngster, iron arms with me. I am a pharmacy drugstore. Me and my bro, drug lords. Mama, pray for us. Oh Lord, we was raised off the good book. Now we in the kitchen with the cookbook. Strap in my lap, no.
You're about to break through to the fourth dimension.
Trying to build a case. Say my face is a good look. Fuck that spot getting hot. So we shook to the A. I know damn well we wasn't raised this way. Now we up, down, a pound, up. Fuck, stuff. Fuck.
We got Dempsey over here breaking into the fourth dimension. You got $150 saved for 420? Nice. Fun fact, I used to sell the guy that's singing this song and his like whole crew a bunch of MDMA back in the day. Remember them hitting me up at 4 o'clock in the morning one time? They're like, bro, I'll drive you out to Toronto, we'll put you on a show in our fucking basement. I'm like, what? And it's like, dude, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. He's like, I know, bro, I know, I'll pay for your cab and everything. I was like, are you sure? It's gonna be like fucking $200 cab. And he's like, yeah, man, we got you, I got you. Get there and they just pop back a bunch of Molly, and then they just start fucking like rolling real hard and start playing their instruments, bro. It was insane. It was just fucking, it was insane. Obviously I was high as shit too, and it was just like rolling to the music, bro. It was insane. That's how they made all of their hits. That's insane. Good times, man. High school, baby. My buddy Turner introduced me to him. He's just like, bro, like, I want you to meet him, but like, he's from fucking the Glorious Sons. He's the lead singer. I don't want you like freaking out and like fangirling and shit, because he hates that, you know? And I'm like, yo, no, that's totally understandable, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want people freaking out like that either. And then like I met him and we just like clicked right away because I wasn't being like a little fangirl and shit. And he's like, bro, you're super chill. Everyone else that's dealt with me, they're always like, oh my god, I'll give you deals, this and that. You're like, straight up, bro, this is how it's going and this is what you're gonna pay. So yeah, man, it's just, yeah, good times. Good times. Good times, man. Times. Can't fuck tonight. Wait, what? Most enjoyable drug, Bro, I remember going to one of their shows live and they gave me backstage tickets and shit and we were chilling, like, felt like a boss. I felt like a fucking G.
Life is so devilish.
They're way bigger overseas than they ever were here. Well, that's not true. That's not true. They were huge in Toronto and stuff because they came from around Toronto, right? But other than like Toronto and like Canada and the States, they weren't that big. Like overseas, they're huge. Most enjoyable drug I've done? It's nothing. Like the harder stuff, bro. Yeah, fuck hard drugs. Not good. I watched it ruin, just drugs ruin a lot of people's lives. Fuck that shit. I'm good on that. Wonder who your real friends are, yeah? Watch them start doing blow and try and start like robbing from you and shit. You know? One time I even start stealing and lying and all these fake little stories that they start doing to justify their actions and shit. Smoking twists for hands, trying to get some ass, but my grades slipping fast. I used to jam this in high school all the time. Shiver by the Charles River, where we all would tip the bottle, sipping scar our liver. We would play hard, party at the graveyard, way far up at the tower, dodging the late guard. Polly with a J spot. Come on, hit 'em. Thank you. And even friends fall apart, so what they fam. Life is hard, dog, you're gone if you don't make plans. So let's shake hands and wish as we reminisce over beef. Know that we can settle this. I take another hit. Reminisce while I sit and wish we wasn't living so devilish. I take another hit. If I reminisce while I sit and wish we wasn't living so devilish. Since I hit
21, life's gotten funny, son. Wherever the money come, that's where all the honeys run. Nobody is friends, and if they are, it's probably pretend. Apply for some ends for cash cats, body they men. One love to Benny Rosa, shot him in and shot up his friend. Bodies have been buried, never saw them again. Damn, I get worried, cause Jeff Curley met his death early. So many people dying, why and who's the next 30? Cambridge rep for me, open up my chest fully, hard on my lapel. It's so hard being Miguel to see you gelatin, see through irrelevant, feeble intelligence. People that selling hits while my rap slave to grind. The cats made the rhyme, we pass major minds with cash made in time. But until this, yo, I still wish, as I chill and reminisce, that we wasn't living so devilish.
The nails stay back, enjoy the smell.
I take another hit.
Sitting on till I'm building up my money, call it skyscraper
yeah.
paper. I got models, I got strippers, I got bitches, I'm a player. I'm in that residential, waving high to my neighbors. Then I'm on that next flight, saying bye to my neighbors. I'm building up my money, call it skyscraper paper. I got models, I got strippers, I got bitches, I'm a player. I'm in that residential, waving high to my neighbors. Then I'm on that next flight, saying bye to my neighbors.
I made it out of my hood. I know some niggas wish I was back there. That's why old friends are just old friends. I'm in Chuck Taylors with a low brim. Got my old Timbs and my North Face from the old days in that cold place. Now it's rose and good kush. California living on my soul fades. I got no shame. From the nosebleeds to the center stage is a long way. How I got here, niggas wanna act like it's not fair. Just cause I know millionaires and no billionaires. Cause I'm a thousandaire trying to
a live one. What? Wild.
When it was flagged by a license plate reader, U.S. Marshals and the Monroe County Sheriff's Department.
We got this one live.
Dozens of law enforcement vehicles descended on a remote property to apprehend Blaine and Susan Barksdale. The married couple was on the run. They escaped custody while being transported by van across the United States to face murder charges. They tricked the guards, then overpowered them and got away. The U.S. Marshals video captures the arrest on a night vision camera.
Pepper ball or something deployed. They got hands on him now.
They got hands on him. They start kicking the shit out of him.
Join us as we investigate this haunting case involving the Barksdales and examine the events that led up to this dramatic conclusion.
Come on. 21 HP.
Before we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the loved ones and friends of the victim in this case, Frank Bly. The victim in this tragic story is Frank Bly, a 72-year-old retired Air Force veteran
just
who
stick to the good old
served 2
hippie
tours
crack,
in
you know?
Vietnam as a helicopter mechanic. Frank Bly and Susan Barksdale
Stick to the
had
good
been
old hippie
great
crack,
friends
chat.
for decades, but that friendship ultimately cost Frank his life. Frank, Susan, and Blaine all lived in Tucson, Arizona. For many years, Frank spoke fondly about Susan to his family members and recounted the good times they had together, birthdays and holidays and other special events. But when Sue struck up a romantic relationship with Blaine Barksdale, Frank started to notice unsettling changes in his friend. According to his brother Skip, Frank felt like something was off and he grew uneasy with the new dynamic. Described by friends and family as kind and generous, Frank was a lifelong bachelor with no known children. He was the oldest of 3 siblings and maintained a close relationship with all of them. Every Sunday, Frank
Alex has
spoke
a
by
chat
phone
before
with his
him?
brother
That's
in
hilarious.
Connecticut and his sister in
Yeah,
Maine.
Alex,
On
what's it
April
like?
7th, 2019, he chatted with his sister as usual. But by the time his brother called, there was no answer. That Sunday, Frank was spotted at a local cow pony bar. and it was the last time anyone other than his killers would see Frank alive. As time ticked by, Skip became increasingly worried about the whereabouts of his brother. He called Frank every day, but to no avail. 9 days later, on April the 16th, he reached out to Frank's friend and emergency contact, Susan Barksdale. But a man answered the phone and told Skip that he had a wrong number before hanging up abruptly. This strange call heightened Skip's suspicions even further. That day, he reported Frank missing to the Tucson Police Department. He asked them to visit his brother's house and conduct a wellness check. But the information they provided was a huge shock. At around 4 a.m. that morning, the fire department had raced to Frank's residence, only to find the house being consumed by a roaring fire and an ensuing explosion. On the day of the fire, Frank's body was not found in the house, and one of his vehicles was missing from the garage. Initially, this could have been considered a good sign. Perhaps Frank was somewhere safe and alive. But when Frank's Lincoln Continental was discovered abandoned on a road a few miles away, the evidence that police found inside led them to suspect foul play. It is believed that Frank's body was taken from the house in the trunk of the Lincoln. Frank had a collection of approximately 100 guns and a large amount of cash and other valuables.
It's
Law
like
enforcement
ecstasy.
speculated this was likely the primary motive behind the crime. 5 days after the fire, police interviewed Blake Barksdale's 31-year-old nephew. They arrested Brent Mallard on suspicion of arson, second-degree burglary, and a felony criminal charge for his suspected involvement in the crime. Showing remarkable compassion, Frank's brother would later say he felt sorry for the guy. That Brent
like the love drug.
for a ride. He added that
People
Brent's
call it
uncle
the
had
love drug,
screwed
you know?
him royally. He got caught in the middle of something. Skip believed the nephew had no choice but to follow Blaine's commands or risk dire consequences. By May, police had identified 55-year-old Blaine and 58-year-old Susan Barksdale as suspects in Frank's disappearance and issued warrants for their arrest. But before the pair could be taken into custody, the Barksdales fled to Arizona and then headed for New York State. It is believed the couple sold about a third of Frank's guns along the way to fund their escape. The camper was discovered in an industrial park in Henrietta, New York, when it was flagged by a license plate reader. U.S. Marshals and the Monroe County Sheriff's Department arrested the couple on May the 24th. Henrietta is a suburb 12 miles from Rochester, New York, and 75 miles from the Canadian border. Police believe the Barksdales traveled there to connect with someone they knew from Blaine's gang connections. Perhaps they were intending to flee to Canada, but when they arrived, Blaine found out that his contact had died. For 3 months, the Barksdales were held in upstate New York in the jail while they
I'm gonna have to kill this
extradition back
motherfucker
to
and then go
Arizona.
downstairs.
They were wanted on charges of first-degree murder, first-degree burglary, arson of an occupied structure, theft of means of transportation, criminal damage, and prohibited possession. But their extradition didn't go smoothly. On August the 26th, they managed to escape in Blanding,
You never
Utah.
parachuted? That's how we would always do it. Just fucking, my one homeboy would just pop it in his mouth and he'd just chomp the rocks. And I'd be like, bro, you got a fucking chunk stuck in your tooth there. And you're like, I don't give a fuck.
Third prisoner who had been picked up in Kansas City was also in the van with the Barksdales.
Wild time.
My understanding is when they left the jail that morning to leave for Arizona, that they were in belly chains, and right outside.
Bro, I remember being
in Utah.
I remember being so high one time. I was like seeing shapes in the darkness, and they're moving around. It was like a kaleidoscope.
Go to the bathroom, and
it was like I took a bunch of acid.
Over in the
and it was just like, whoa,
use the
this
restroom
is
and
peak.
take care of their personal needs. That's when they overpowered them and forced them into the
eating it like candy, literally.
Left the area. The third prisoner, who was being transported to Tucson, was very cooperative. He was wanted in Pima County for improper use of credit cards. So it wasn't a violent crime, and he had this individual had an opportunity to also escape, but he wanted nothing to do with this situation and cooperating with law enforcement.
The Barksdales used the guards' keys to free themselves from the belly chains constraining them. They drove the van to a sparsely populated remote Arizona town in Apache County to pick up a friend's truck for the next leg of their getaway. The guards,
All right, I'll be right back.
and a woman, were not carrying weapons,
I'll be right back.
but there was a handgun in the van's lockbox.
Get going.
The Barksdales didn't take it, perhaps unaware that it was there. They stole about $30 in cash that they found in wallets. The Barksdales did not physically injure the guard, but they did leave them locked in the van, abandoned in the desert, not knowing where they were. It had to be terrifying for them to not know how they would escape the metal box that now contained them. The guards escaped their predicament by kicking out one of the van's windows, but by that time the fugitives had a significant head start. The Barksdales were now driving a red 2004 GMC Sierra pickup truck heading to parts unknown. The chase was on, and a nationwide manhunt was launched. After the guards reported the prisoners' escape, the Arizona Department of Transportation began flashing alerts along the state highways on digital messaging boards to alert the public to be on the lookout for the escaped prisoners. 2 weeks passed, but the Barksdales remained at large.
We believe, based on tips, calls into the Marshal Service, from informants, from interviews, that the Barksdales were possibly in the east of the Snowflake area. And east of Snowflake, Arizona, several miles and going for probably 20 miles, are a lot of people who live off the grid. Some are anti-government people. Some are good people. They just want to stay away and lead their lives. We have a lot of drug dealers in the area who are involved in methamphetamine use and sales, and it is a very difficult area to do surveillance and for people to come forward. We spent almost 2 weeks, over 40 deputies, and also working with our partners with Apache County, Navajo County, DPS, FBI, and Tucson PD, working this case around the clock since their escape on the 26th. And as I mentioned, we have not had any solid leads where they might be.
The desert region of Apache and Navajo counties that law enforcement believed was harboring the Barksdales is the backcountry of northeastern Arizona, a maze of dead-end roads featuring cattle and horse ranches interspersed with undeveloped land. The area also has family cabins, trailers, drug dens, and survivalist compounds. And in that vast rural expanse, the borrowed red pickup truck the Barksdales were driving had vanished without a trace. Cell phones and law enforcement radios didn't work reliably out there, which complicated the operation to recover the runaways. Law enforcement searched by land and air for any signs of the couple, who were considered to be armed and dangerous. Authorities were concerned that they had made their way back to some weapons they may have stashed, the ones they had stolen from Frank Blood.
Talk to you guys soon.
They warned the public not to approach the Barksdales if they were spotted. Meanwhile, they conducted warrant sweeps and property searches and made arrests in their quest to track them down, according to U.S. Marshal David Gonzalez when he spoke to the media.
And I want to stress, we were concentrating very heavily in the Snowflake area, in the Navajo County area and into Apache County area, because of the type of people that he associated with that lived in that area, people that he had gang affiliations with, and it was a pretty good gamble. It really was. But I must add that they could be anywhere in the U.S. So we were keeping our eyes open. We don't want to put blinders on to think that that's the only place they could. They could have snuck off into New Mexico. We don't believe they're in Mexico, but running, as I mentioned, we have 40 or plus deputy marshals and FBI's assisting, and Tucson PD tracking down hundreds and hundreds of leads and going back historically that you normally do on these type of investigations, and other investigative efforts that we do on high-profile cases like this.
By September the 9th, the marshal's patience was running thin. They intensified their efforts. Blaine was placed on their 15 most wanted list, and the reward for information leading to his capture went to $25,000. Another $10,000 was offered for Susan. In light of the Barksdales' escape, reporters asked Gonzalez why they weren't flown back instead and why a private security company was transporting them instead of law enforcement officers.
It happens a lot in the United States with sheriff's departments. With budgets shrinking, they have fugitives around the country that need to be extradited back home, and instead of using sworn police officers, a lot of agencies will use private security companies to pick up prisoners and bring them back.
Just 2 days after Blaine Barksdale made the U.S. Marshals Most Wanted list, the agency caught a break. Based on information received from a tipster, the U.S. Marshals, assisted by the Navajo County Sheriff's Office, tracked the couple down at a remote rural residence of a friend in Gila County. They were hiding out in Pumpkin Center. More than 50 law enforcement officials descended on the 1-acre property, including members of the U.S. Marshal Service, the Department of Public Safety, and the sheriff offices of both Gila and Navajo counties. After the marshals ordered them out, the homeowners emerged first. Then Susan Barksdale exited the home shortly after, visibly tearful and distraught. She confirmed that her husband was inside, but for several minutes, Blaine refused to come out. It took a while, and although he initially complied with the officer's commands, his demeanor changed as he got closer to the police officers. A deputy U.S. Marshal used a stun gun and multiple beanbag rounds on Blaine before he was handcuffed and taken from the scene. Gonzalez later recounted that as Blaine was being booked into jail, he turned to the troopers and bailiffs and warned, "Be careful, it's dangerous out there." Back in Tucson, one of Frank's neighbors was relieved that the fugitives were in custody, but he also expressed regret that the life of their friend and community member had ended so violently and senselessly. Frank's brother Skip was left to wonder why all this happened.
I'm happy that they're caught. I'm sad that they did this to him. I wish they didn't. It's a tragedy.
I mean, he's a Vietnam vet. He served Vietnam. He got on the Air Force Reserve. He served his country. I don't think I never ever heard him once say anything bad about anybody. Even Sue. He liked Sue and everything that what she did and everything. But as far as I'm concerned, that when she met Blaine, she turned into the Black Widow.
The COVID pandemic slowed the court system down, so the Barksdales served 3 years before their case was resolved. With the evidence stacked against them, they made a plea bargain with prosecutors. Susan Barksdale pled guilty to 1 count of manslaughter in November of 2021, and Blaine pled guilty to 1 count of second-degree murder in December of that same year. Blaine received 22 years, and Susan got 5, with credit given to both of them for their time served. Brent Mallard, Blaine's nephew, pled guilty to arson charges for burning Bly's house to the ground. In 2022, he was sentenced to 7 years of probation and ordered to complete a drug and alcohol treatment program. In a heartbreaking twist, it turns out that Frank Bly had given his close friend Susan a pivotal role in his after-death arrangements. His brother Skip spoke about the irony in his impact statement that was broadcast remotely to the courtroom.
But Sue, she was going to be the executor of my brother's trust. Some reason, my brother had the trust, all the Bible, the information in his house, and Blaine and her stole it. And they went in somewhere, I mean, it was in one of the reports, and they went somewhere, and I guess they went through the thing, and they ended up burning the whole thing. Now, that was my brother's life, and his last wishes were up in flames.
As a special term of the plea deal, Blaine was required to reveal the location of Frank Bly's remains. The information he provided led law enforcement to Frank's body being discovered deep in the Salt River Canyon on January 4th of 2022, where he had been lying since 2019. Frank had been thrown over a guardrail. A belt and a small knife Skip had described as belonging to his brother were found with the body. Blaine and Susan gave statements to the court during their sentencing hearing and apologized to Frank's family.
First, I'd like to address Mr. Bly, and honestly tell you, you're right, sir, and I am sorry. I am not going to sit here and try to make any excuses for my actions. I don't know what happened. I honestly don't. It was a joke thing. You know what? I'm not going to make excuses. What I done was wrong. I'm very, very sorry. I'm very sorry for you and your family. Nothing I can say or do is going to change what happened. I wish I could. I truly wish I could. I would also like to say I'm sorry to my family, my wife, her family. I don't know, Mr. Black, you knew Sue or not. She was very good friends with your brother. She's not responsible for this. This was my actions alone. She's a victim. She was just simply scared to turn me in because the drugs have turned me into somebody that I'm not. I'm very ashamed of that. I pray every day that God will give you the strength and that to move on, start healing. Again, everybody, I'm sorry. I truly am sorry.
I just wanted you to know that I've never heard anybody in my life. And Frank wasn't your friend of mine for many years. I'm sorry I didn't get help. I don't see a day in the future that I won't be afraid. I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about me. So just very sorry. Need to be with my family.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
After the hearing, Susan sent a note from prison to her daughter Jada to explain her side of how this tragedy unfolded. Frank stood up for me. He saw the bruises on my face and arms and told Blaine to keep his hands off me. They had words. There was never a time that Frank disrespected me. Always a gentleman, never anything more than just good friends. I think that's what started the whole thing. Both were mad, and Blaine was on drugs, and, well, you know. I want you to know how proud I am of you for telling the story for me. I don't think I could say this to anyone. I truly didn't have a choice. I was so scared to say anything to anyone for fear he would hurt you or anyone I love. Just a few thoughts. Love, Mom. But Skip Bly was not convinced of Susan's sincerity, and he spoke out about these doubts during her sentencing hearing.
He just wrote friend. He trusted her with everything. And she took everything away from him, the way I look at it. She's the one that gave Blaine all the tools that he needed to rob him, steal him blind, and do whatever they did. And between the two of them, she's the one I have absolutely no value in at all. She's absolutely worthless in my book. And there's nothing else to say. I mean, she betrayed my brother, she betrayed our family, and she betrayed her own family. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr.
Frank grew up in Goshen, Connecticut, a quaint New England town of about 3,000 people. He moved to Arizona many years before he died to escape the cold weather. In death, he would eventually end up back in his hometown. After 3 agonizing years of not knowing where Frank's remains were, the family was finally able to bring the body home and lay him to rest on a cloudy, drizzly day in May of 2022. An honor guard attended the funeral to recognize Frank for his military service. The touching farewell song traditionally played at the graves of those who had served in the American Armed Forces was played on a bugle at the memorial service. If you found this case compelling, don't forget to like the video, comment down below and give us your take on it, and please subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the notification bell in order to stay up to date each time we reveal a new shocking case. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's lurking in the shadows.
On the 21st of December 1978, police in Chicago were desperately trying to locate a missing teenager and had begun searching the home of a local maintenance contractor.
When they executed that search warrant, they went in the crawl space, and the very first shovel that they dug, they found human remains.
The man they had in custody, 36-year-old John Wayne Gacy, was a popular socialite who spent his weekends dressed as a clown, entertaining children.
At one point, chillingly, he says to the detectives, "You know, clowns can get away with murder." Well, never was a truer word said.
In total, Gacy, the killer clown, had tortured and killed 33 young men over a 5-year period. 27 of the bodies were buried right beneath his own home.
Using other human beings, inflicting pain and suffering and torture on another helpless human being, to me is the essence of evil.
The remorseless John Wayne Gacy had proved himself to be one of the world's most evil killers. Over the course of 6 years, John Wayne Gacy kidnapped, tortured, and brutally murdered 33 young men and boys in and around Chicago, Illinois. It was one of the most shocking sets of crimes in American history. The bodies of 27 of Gacy's victims were buried directly below the house he lived in. But this killer's story starts almost 40 years before. John Wayne Gacy was born in Chicago, Illinois on the 17th of March 1942. The second of 3 children, Gacy had a difficult upbringing. His father was an alcoholic who was reportedly both mentally and physically abusive to his children and their mother.
His father spent apparently all of Gacy's childhood.
Okay, yeah, I'll be back in like 5 minutes. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
I tried to get.
And then we are watching this. What's up, my man? Oh, look at who it is, chat. Look who it is. Look who it is. Oh my. Hello. Hello. You little weasel. Oof. I got you. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, we back, baby. I'm from McLean. Fair, Sean, fair.
Get the green screen to work, but it didn't work, so I'll have to work with this. Alright, so most of these rumors have to do with DZ, the elevator story from back then, and a big misunderstanding that has led to the tag of being a liar and a lot of things gone hayway. So, one of the rumors that started over the last couple of years, right here. Sweet talked behind Guild and Sykes back during free agency and actively sabotaged them. So if you remember, my stream way back when I announced joining LG, a lot of people made a big commotion about what had happened behind the scenes with me, Sykes, and Guild potentially teaming. And at the time, I thought Nick, ZZ, his in-game name, DZ's coach, was the person who started this rumor where I said Guild was bad because of his relationship and Sykes had mental health issues. Now, come to find out today, ZZ was actually the scapegoat for a different person who, out of respect for DZ, I will not say. But I've talked to DZ for... I talked to Zero today for a couple hours. And some things came to light. And let me show you some receipts. For people who are confused, back when LG was first announced, I said that me, Guild, and Sykes were potentially going to be a team, but that was sabotaged by somebody in the DZ camp fucking around. Now, at the time, I had asked Sykes and Guild, and they told me ZZ is the person who told them this. That kind of spiraled over the last couple months to me trying to get rid of DZ and take over the org, which was also not true. And tying it back to the first point, nuanced conversations and accusations towards Nick, the coach of DZ, who turned out to be the scapegoat of the situation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have scapegoat drama. Don't worry. Now, tying this back to years ago, I've been accused of lying about an elevator story involving DZ. That will be clarified. I've been accused about lying about Skittle Cake's story. Also will be clarified. And a lot of little nuanced things as well. So that is the overarching drama that I will be clearing my name for by way of hard evidence and the jury. I just read in chat, what is? Better not be the Dune popcorn bucket to Imperial Hell. All right. Oh my God, did you guys like that transition? W transition. Backstory. So, at the beginning of free agency, the DZ
snack, that's hilarious.
Owner-operator approached me and said that they potentially wanted to build a team around me. That's what started a long, drawn-out drama session that is now turned into blaming me and calling me a liar 6 months removed, when in reality, none of the logs have been leaked until today. And not only am I trying to prove my innocence to the DZ Apex members, which turns out I have no beef with, but also general fans who don't have enough information to come to an educated conclusion. The second part is a story about an elevator involving Zero, the infamous story, which I'll address in a little bit, and the Skittle Cakes thing. So, let me show you what had happened. Did Sykes start with this? I said some stuff about how Sykes had a pretty poor showing at the most recent LAN. Officer, take me away. Self-admitted by Sykes. And he added me in the chat and led with, "Sweet, I will gladly post a screenshot you sent to DZ in the DMs." Hinting at, because you definitely didn't DM my manager and say Guild had girlfriend problems and I have mental health issues, so DZ shouldn't pick either of us. So, one would expect there to be a DM that exists of me saying these things, right? Because this is what's perpetuating the liar tag, right? These logs would have been said in reality on Discord, right? Bad news!
Drama.
My conversation with the manager of DZ, the person who I apparently DM'd these things to. Let me read it out to you in my voice. Hey BC, any update on what DZ is planning on doing moving forward? I've heard you are going to keep the core of Jin and Zero and work from there. We trialed Jin a few days ago and it was great. Just following up and getting closure on previous talks if interested is needed. Thanks. BC.
That would have been a nasty squad,
Hey,
but
Sweet.
let's be for real. Zero, Sweet, and Jen, that would have been a fucking nasty squad.
I just followed up with Jack as well, but we are going to continue Jen and Zero.
Hey,
and
I'm
split.
Jack.
Good luck with everything, man. Really appreciate your transparency and professionalism and wish you the best. This is a guy shit-talking people behind their backs? Sweet. Hey, truth be told, I was excited to get the opportunity to trial Jen, and his inclination to continue trials led me to believe this conclusion was unlikely, which saddens me because I think we could have brought a lot of value to DZ. Nevertheless, appreciate the consideration in the talks and wish nothing but the best to Jen and Zero. Sweet actively tried to get rid of the DZ roster. But there's more DMs. So this is 10-14.
That was a week ahead of one.
Keeping you both in the loop here, I'm on track to finalize things on the end by Friday. Teams have been requested to accept their auto invites by Thursday, 10-18. Blah, 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 blah. So I don't know if that pressures any direction before then. This is when, at this
Zero
point,
and Jen, yeah.
we were potentially going to play with Zero and Koi. This was the continuation of my talks with DZ that is further building upon DZ's original interest in building around me. Right? This is me just telling them, all right, I'm in developed talks with other orgs, such as LG. Talk to Zero. There was a weird disconnect between Zero and Jen. It was just a bunch of free agency stuff. Everybody was playing their cards different directions. Nothing wrong there. Now, around the same time, supposedly, I was shit-talking Sykes and Guild behind their backs so that I could get on DZ with, I don't know. It's like the most batshit crazy rumor and complete lie I've ever heard. Now, this was pretty much proof that I handled things pretty well above board. And then 10/27, at the end of the month, this was our final correspondence about this. BC tells me, hey, sweet, the rumors are just rumors right now. Nothing substantial, unfortunately, for any party. As much as we looked and tracked to finalize things 1 to 2 weeks ago, we're now in the position to slow play a few things. I'll do my best to keep you and Jack in the loop of general direction. Okay. I respected his wishes and said, all right, this probably is not going to work out. But supposedly, before this was the conversation I had with BC about potential roster moves. Now, there's another conversation, and I don't want to leak because it actually is like some sensitive information. I can't show that publicly. But this, prior to this conversation, is when we are talking potential roster moves. Now, hypothetically around here is when I'm shit-talking Sykes and Guild behind their backs, right? But literally 2 weeks prior, me, Sykes, and Guild were in cahoots to potentially team together. As seen here, 9/14. Yeah, I think the option I mainly want to do is you and Guild. So this sets up the idea that, okay, me, Sykes, and Guild are going to potentially team, right? Now, if I had the intention to fuck these guys over with DZ just a week later, would I have sent this DM, the damning evidence, to my boy Promo that reads, Sykes would be super locked with the fresh opportunity, and I would love to work on my leading ability of Guild and work through some of the issues we've had. In reality, most teams don't see the success we did in a short time. I really think their friendship would be amazing for the team and make vibes. Not an issue at all in reality. Got a lot of respect for both of them, and regardless, hope they end up somewhere like this. Potential ring squad. Yeah, they've been the dynamic duo past week. So you're telling me a week later, perfectly aligning with my conversation with BC, where I shit-talked these guys, I'm talking about winning LAN with them. Who's lying? It sure as fuck ain't me. So, out of respect for Sykes and Guild,
sure as
I
fuck
want them to
ain't
know
me.
that I did never shit-talk them behind the scenes. And then at the end of this fucking message, I
Sure as
even write,
fuck ain't me.
I hope they end up
That's
somewhere
funny.
where they can win. Now, after this evidence was brought to DZ earlier today in the oversight cord, Zero messaged me personally. We hashed
no, I don't
a
think I
bunch of
have.
shit out. Right?
Name.
And come to find out, there is a third-party actor in this situation who has gone completely fucking rogue and is the creation of these rumors. Now, what made me accuse ZZ for making the rumors in the first place? Right? In this screenshot, Sykes tells me, can you share who? I don't have a bone to pick with you. I care mostly about the source of the lie. I was told here, you can talk to Nick about it, the DZ coach. So in the moment, I'm thinking he started the lie. So that is what started my crusade against ZZ. But come to find out today from Zero is that ZZ told Sykes to tell me it was him to save face for somebody else.
What? That makes no sense.
Right?
Makes
Okay.
no sense.
So, after we have established that, so now let's come back to today.
Come on, bitch.
My
13
previous
HP.
hatred of ZZ
Less
has
than
been lifted.
13.
The only reason I
Just
didn't
die.
like DZ's coach was because I thought he substantiated the rumors about Guild and Sykes.
Come on, die.
Come to find out, he was the cover man.
Die.
ZZ is no
Yup.
longer an enemy of the state. Now, ZZ's a good coach, knowledgeable guy, but he has some flaws. Anytime you're in a conversation with him and you fuck up grammatically, he immediately calls it out as a way to lose the argument. So, he has a lot of work to do, but ZZ, our beef is settled. Okay, now that we know that ZZ is not the person who started the rumors, we have to go back to the three-man of DZ. I have no beef with Sykes, no beef with Jen, and I talked to Zero for over an hour earlier. Come to find out, out of respect for Zero, I'm not going to say that. But let's just say there is a third party above all of this. The players are here. Players are here. These are the players. And then up here, there's someone with like the little arms. They are controlling the thing. And they tried... Listen, when this comes to light in a couple months, chat. So you guys have heard how Zero and them have been saying just wait a couple months and then we'll expose you. It turns out, when we wait a couple months, we're going to be exposing somebody else together. Me and DZ team. Wait for that, because that's going to be fucking crazy. And that might be one of the weirdest things I've ever heard that's happened in esports. Nevertheless, I want to make it clear that ZZ was the cover man, and I only disliked him because I was told directly that he was the origin of the rumor from a DZ member, so it was credible. I don't have any ill will towards anybody on DZ.
Come on, token with me,
information that
everyone.
they
You gotta
had-
wait for me to get out
I
of the
didn't
wildy,
leak any of these
homie.
DMs prior to this, right? This is the only day I've only showed this because I kind of like just fucking had it with this whole liar thing. Given the information DZ had, the players made no mistakes. Honestly, I would be doing the same shit. Casually memeing about it. They didn't do a fucking entire crusade. Zero didn't put on a suit and come on here and call me a liar.
You
Albeit
gotta
there was
wait.
some
Y'all gotta wait for me. I
reputation
don't want to be
things
left
being said.
out.
The actual...
I gotta get out of the wildy though. I don't want to die.
Now, I hinted at it earlier, but when this comes... So, originally, DZ team members thought that they would be exposing me in 2 months. This whole entire time, hence why I'm doing this, what the fuck are you going to expose? There's nothing to expose from my point of view. After talking with Zero, boy, are we in for a ride. Okay, accusations involving Nick ZZ, the coach of DZ. The only fallacy ZZ has is being mid at GeoGuessr. That's it. Sweet actively tried to get rid of the DZ roster. We obviously know that's not true because of one of these pictures. The one where I was like, good luck to the boys.
Stay hydrated, fellas.
Sweet talked behind Guild and Sykes' back during free agency and actively sabotaged them. We know that wasn't true because at the same time I was sabotaging them.
Oh, look, you want to
I
get
was
99.
Being respectful to the DZ owner and talking to Guild and
Like,
Sykes
I
behind
would-
the scenes, talking about potentially teaming together.
Look, you want to go
So,
buy like a bunch of
Where
bars?
does that leave us? That leaves us here.
Make some.
The
what's
elevator story.
missing?
So
I
now
can't make them yet. Never
we're
mind.
going into we're shifting gears from this drama to previous dramas that were not squashed / explained that compounded with this one. The first one being the elevator story. Now, if you have heard the elevator story has had multiple permutations over the years over the game of telephone. However, it originally started with, from what I can remember, as I entered the elevator, a member of DZ was in there at the time. At the time, it was Rig. It was Reignite. That person was softly crying. I walked into the elevator. I pressed my floor button. I said, "You good?" This person responded back with, "Yeah, it's just hard, but I'm chilling." I got off on my floor and got away. Fast forward to today. According to Zero, I talked to Zero a while about this. The story has morphed into Zero was in the elevator with this person, yelling at them directly in the elevator. Now, had I known that was what the story has changed to, That is not true at all. Now, I do take a lot of this today has been me proving my innocence, but this, wait, I think I have a slide here. Taking ownership, look at that. About the elevator situation, it was not 100% made up, at all. Some degree of these events happened. I would never just make this up. God's honest truth. Literally on my mom's life, I would never just randomly make these things up. Take my word for it if you wish. However, over the years, the story morphed into things that I didn't realize that were simply not true. Zero is cut from the same cloth.
Alright, cheers.
That a lot
I
of
just
people
gotta
are
pack
in
this
a
bowl.
leadership position.
Let's
Any
do it.
story that involves Zero directly yelling at his teammate. Now, Zero will tell you, him and Jen Burton were getting into it that entire land, right? But the story that Zero was in an elevator yelling at his teammate is not true. However, there was some emotional damage, and that is true. However, I do apologize to Zero and his reputation over the last couple years if that story morphed into something I didn't realize and I didn't nip it in the bud when I could have. So, out of respect for Zero, I apologize. I feel bad saying it in the first place. I've learned my lesson. I will spread less drama in the first place. But you fuckers are making shit up, and it's like a cabal of fucking drama and low key. That was bad, but it was based in truth. Lying about Skittle cakes. So, back then, DZ likes to bring up that there is this story with Skittle and him not wanting to sign something and then saying something. Hold on. Now, after asking Skittle after the moment, this was the correspondence with Skittle. Okay. Wait, we got to go back to... All right, so we're kind of bouncing around eras of Apex, but all of these things have been, you know, constantly spread that I lied about, when in reality I did not. So, fast forward to Swedenland. Supposedly Skittle Cakes refused to sign something for somebody, saying, "You're not here to make friends." Right? This was told to me while I was drunk at 2 in the morning. I then said this on stream when we got back.
I rip a small
with
one
Noct
with you.
in the call.
You can do a countdown
Right?
for me, Golden.
Wait, was Noct on
Alright?
you guys' team back then?
You do a
I
fucking
don't remember.
countdown for me.
Anyways,
I'll do a small one
Did you
here.
say no to a fan for signing something? It was a random staff member asking me to sign something, and I said no, that's it. Did you go on to tell a pro that you're not here to make friends? Yeah,
Do a
that wasn't my sole
countdown,
purpose for being
homeboy.
there. But the way you framed it was blatantly false. I'm not a bad person. I'm genuinely asking. Today I corrected myself and told Twitch that you did not say that directly to the person, that you simply said no, and Noct said it was before Grand Finals. And I said actually respect being locked in for Grand Finals. At the same time, Nasky was a very nice guy, and I signed his mouse pad without a second thought. Flash forward to today, and Nasky... Just play. I'm just tired of people thinking I'm a piece of shit. I know I shouldn't let it get to me, but it does. I don't want people to think I'm a bad person. Totally respect that. Then, next correspondence. Noct and I both said that the story of you telling the person the friends part was better as a story, and both ended up saying the story was lost in translation, that it was not really bad at all, and from the same viewers that heard the first story. However, when you declined to sign stuff and later tell people that you weren't there to make friends, I mean, what do you expect? I did not know at the same time that you didn't say the friends thing directly to the person. I wouldn't have said the story. So this is me apologizing to Skittle, but the things did happen. They just happened separately, right? Okay, I didn't know. Thank you for going back over it all. I told one person that and only refused to sign one thing and didn't expect them to go around gossiping like a high school girl. So now, this rumor that I completely made this up, these two things happened. However, Skittle declined to sign something for someone at working Respawn, honorable, and then said he's not there to make friends to a pro player. This story was merged through the power of telephone. I said the story as is. Skittle Cakes clarified with me. I retracted the story, apologized to Skittle, and told the viewers that it did not happen, with Noct in the call. And for the record, Skittle is actually a very good dude, and I like Skittle a lot. Good people, good dude. Okay, so now let's go back. Let's go back over everything. For those of you who weren't privy to the drama before, everyone thought, not everyone, a small group of people in the Apex community, mostly DZ fans, substantiated a rumor that I was directly lying to try to impact their team, their players, and the org. Now, Judge... Sorry, that made me laugh. Judge... Oh, Jesus. I feel like I'm in debate again. Judge... I can't take that serious when I say that for some reason. Twitch chat, that's more like it. Based on what I've shown you today, although DZ did show interest in picking me up originally, and we went down months and months of talking about potentially playing together, myself and DZ, At no point did I ever slander anybody, shit talk anybody, and
I've seen the rest of that. Interesting. Man, I'm so stoned I don't even like remember what I was doing. Oh god. I'll be right back. Alright. I'm back. I had to call my mom. I have to get some glue for my glasses. Watch this. This nose piece just comes right out. I fell asleep with my glasses on last night and broke them. Fucking unfortunate. Alright. Let's do this. What are we doing here? You back? Yeah, I'm stoned as shit, but you know, I gained composure while I was away. I had to make sure I get some glue, you know. All of them attack with melee. Well, let's go to the catacombs then. Like, fuck it, right? Obviously. Let's do it. Smell smoke. I don't really feel like listening to music right now, I'm not gonna lie. But send I'll remember to look it up. I will remember to look it up. You've got my wood. I'm thinking here. Eggs. Oops. Yeah, I smell smoke. Jesus. Woo. Let's you appreciate that, bud. That's my man right there. Okay, what am I here for? Take 2 of these. Those. Yeah, it should be good. That should be good, right? Yep. Let's go. DJR. DJR. Fuck, I didn't bring my staff. Ricky. That's so ass. Mudvelds, yo. King Sand Crabs. Let's do it. Easy task. Massive unit. Click away. Alright, now we'll put something on. What's it called, Sean? Oh, I smell smoke. Smell smoke. Mystical.
I'm in the lane. LA, land of the sticky.
Guys flies by. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't here for like half an hour, so. Rip.
Y'all niggas know about that purple weed, nigga. That light green. Show y'all niggas some shit. It's that sticky, that bug. Indo, hydro. Open up the window.
Open up the window. Oh, that's funny. He reminds me of Afro Man. Let me pick up these points, whatever.
See a Vegas, straight chocolate Phillies. Nah, straight. Get down with that. Nigga, I was listening to Black and Mild. Y'all niggas don't know nothing about the
I'm fearing on what's up.
J.O.B. 1.5. Bring it up, chop it up, cut it up, tuck the end, take the fill out, roll it up. Light it, hit it, hold it, pass, pop,
I like
blow it
Bone
up.
Thugs.
See, some of y'all niggas be talking about blowing, but can't handle the doja. Getting sleepy and shit. Early, bitch, you ain't no smoker. Y'all must be used to hitting that dirt, sticks with the brown bugs. Me, I ain't got shit else to do. Nigga, I'm about to get fucked up. 2 cases of green, out the balls burned away. AM to turn to PM, and nighttime to turn back to day. I'm still smoking. Feeling sporty in my hotel, spent the whole day getting loaded. It's nothing but smoke, there's nothing to smoke. It's nothing but sticking, and nothing but dope. Disconnect, smoke detected. Put a wet towel up under the dog. Nobody around me more dope for me. I got the whole tree, leftovers for me. Cool this bitch off the head. Button up, cause suck 'em up, it's a pet peeve. First, don't put my line in your pocket. Second, don't wet my goddamn weed. That's just 2 before I could get to 3 and 4. 5 and 6, I heard a boom, 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 boom at the door. Evidence all over. I've been doing something serious. Gotta hide this shit, cause I know that's hotel security. I played it off, I said, come back later, I ain't got no clothes. He said, sorry, sir, I don't mean to disturb you, but I smell smoke. Fucker just went to jail for that shit. I ain't going back. I done ate an ounce and I'ma flush the rest, cause I ain't going out like that. Spraying cologne and cutting on the shower, trying to clear up. Worried like a dog, but I got open the door. Fuck it, here go nothing. The dose swung over to some young nigga talking about what's out. He said, I know you got that fire. Say your boy said, ain't that a bitch? Bomb, you don't get your bitch ass up out of here. I done threw all my motherfucking weed away. Fucking with you old bitch ass nigga. Nigga, get your motherfucking whole ass up out of here, bitch, before I stomp your bitch ass. Fuck. Boy, this nigga done blew my motherfucking high.
Yeah, Sean, that's legendary. It's fucking funny, Sean. That is fucking legendary. We gonna get 80 attack with this ear.
I just came home from my internship, was about to continue working on a video I'm making about skill capes. I log in to grab some footage and I see this. Does Jagex not care? Is Jagex actually this oblivious? We're in a time where RuneScape, at least according to the majority of the vocal player base, feels like it's being neglected, and as someone who's been covering the news and following the game actively for years now, I also think it's being neglected. How does a company with hundreds of employees and, according to the most recently released financial statements, £137 million in revenue, not the same as profit by the way, have the audacity to recolor a 3-year-old outfit and sell it as part of some kind of limited edition pack? Now, reusing assets in itself makes sense to speed up development and isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's a good thing if you're looking at graphical reworks, and I wouldn't complain then, but this is insane. Misleading your customers like this is a very bad look. The funniest thing about this bit of drama is that Twitter now has a community fact check feature thingy, and Jagex ended up deleting the tweet afterwards, but of course the pack still remains due to it being a partnership. And let me tell you, Jagex is not going to learn from their mistakes here, even though every single year they say, oh, we're going to be doing better, we're not going to be doing that, we're going to be more player focused, and every single year this couldn't have been further from the truth.
The question, is Jagex milking their players?
Well, yeah, it's quite a big question. We're absolutely not in the business of doing that, and I don't know why anybody would think we would be, because that would just basically mean that we would, bring about the end of the game, quicker, which is not something any of us want, particularly not the people that work on live ops and MTX. And nobody else within RuneScape or the whole of Jagex. It just wouldn't make sense for us to do that. Hopefully this is the first sort of real engagement we've had about this subject, and trying to establish a bit of trust that we will be.
Yeah, that's a good way to build trust with your community. Well, it's an excellent way to build trust with your community. I'm a baseball nerd, so I'm watching this video.
Try and lock up the next great superstar in baseball early. The Braves have done it with the majority of their young stars. The Brewers just did so with Jackson Chourio, and 10 years ago, Boston Red Sox GM Ben Cherington locked up 27-year-old Cuban outfielder Rusney Castillo to an unprecedented 7-year, $72.5 million deal.
No, I can't play any more music.
Grandkids to be financially free for life and bring him one step
closer
to
more music,
fulfilling his
YouTube,
dream of playing in the best league in the world. However, after injury-plagued seasons and poor performances, he was outed to baseball purgatory, where he would spend the rest of his days in America as baseball's failed superstar. As mentioned, Rusney grew up in Cuba and is where he started his professional career, playing for his hometown team at just 20 years old. During this time, he developed into a potential 5-tool player, displaying power with multiple seasons of over 40 extra base hits, speed with 68 stolen bases,
I play Apex a lot, so
as well as good defense and arm strength, managing to win a Gold Glove award during the 2011 and 2012 season. Because of the success he found, he felt it was time to realize his dream of playing in the MLB, but this came with a huge sacrifice. At the time, the US and Cuba's trade embargo was still ongoing, which meant any Cuban player with aspirations of the big leagues had to defect his home country. It's what Yoenis Cespedes did in 2011 when he signed 4 years, $36 million with the Oakland Athletics, and Jose Abreu in 2013 when he signed for 6 years, $68 million with the Chicago White Sox. Castillo elected to go through Haiti, where he was able to obtain permanent residency and search for an MLB contract as an international free agent. And by the time he was able to sign an MLB deal, he'd been out of the game for 18 months. It's what happens when a player from Cuba tries to escape but is unsuccessful. They get banned from playing for a full year. Because of this, you would expect his conditioning to take a massive hit, but some scouts stated the opposite was true. Just listen to this report from before he signed in 2014. Castillo, 27, has gained 20 pounds since leaving Cuba.
A little bit of roids, maybe?
205 pounds, with his best tool his plus speed. The extra size and strength has translated into an increase in power, with some scouts now putting a 60 on his raw power after pegging him with below average to average raw power while he was in Cuba. Because of this, many teams were geared up to acquire his services, with a reported 28 of the 30 teams at his showcases.
Chat, I can't wait to get 80 attack, and then we can just focus strictly on 99 strength.
Mariners. But ultimately, it was the Boston Red Sox who came out on top, offering the biggest contract ever for a Cuban-born player, a record that still stands today over Yasmani Thomas and Jose Abreu. When Castillo signed with the Boston Red Sox in August of 2014, the team was in the midst of a terrible 71-91 season, just 1 year removed from bringing home the World Series trophy. This signing helped numb the pain over that fact and gave Sox fans something to look forward to at the end of the regular season other than a playoff race, as he needed to first build up game fitness at the Sox's spring training facility in Florida before his call up to the majors. During this time, he got to impress his new organization and especially his
y'all are
general
evil,
manager, who
man.
stated, "This is an exciting player. He's got a great combination of skills, defensive ability, speed, solid power. He's a really strong track record in Cuba, and we're excited to add him to the organization.
Stuff
and
your
he'd be a big
face.
part of winning Red Sox
I'm
teams
just sitting
here for
here,
a
like,
long time." That's high
stunned
praise
as
for
fuck.
someone who had never played in the MLB. But he mentioned they were following him for years before his signing, with the stints with the Cuban national team in 2011 and 2012. Which is the reason he felt comfortable putting his job on the line to acquire his services for such a fee. However, other scouts didn't agree with Boston's view on Castillo. One of them mentioned, "For me, he's a backup outfielder, so I think they're way out of line. He's definitely a talented kid, don't misunderstand me. I think that this guy's got major league ability, but $72 million? I've got to get an impact player for that kind of money." Another scout said, "I didn't see a guy who is an above average player. It's hard for me to imagine him being as good as Cespedes. I didn't see that kind of upside on the guy." And finally, one noted, "Competition probably sealed the ultimate price, but you have to start somewhere, and for me to say he was even a $40 or a $50 million player would not be true." These scouts obviously did not like what they saw out of him, one even noting that he's only capable of being a backup outfielder, a job that warrants nowhere close to $72.5 million. That's why his late debut on September 17th against the Pittsburgh Pirates had far more buzz than a regular September call-up. And in his first at-bat with everyone watching, he managed a swinging bunt up the third base line, easy enough for Russell Martin to go
Where's
out
my
on
bag of
step,
weed? There it
making
is.
him wait until his next at-bat, where he once again made contact on a ground ball, but this time towards Neil Walker, who couldn't handle it and bobbled the ball, giving Castillo his first hit in the major leagues. It wasn't as glamorous as other players' first hits, like his teammate Daniel Nava, who had a grand slam, or just recently Davis Schneider, who sent his over the monster. But it got the job done. Over the next few games, Castillo wasn't anything other than your typical ball player, going 1 for 4 in 4
Yes,
straight
sir, yes,
games,
sir,
none
yes,
for
sir.
extra bases. It wasn't until the final 4 of the season before he took off with impressive performances, such as his 2 for 4 night against the Rays, in which he had a homer, a double, 2 runs scored, and 3 driven
Yes,
in.
sir.
Then in the final 3 against the Yankees, he managed 6 hits in 9 at-bats, including this shot over the monster, to bring the Sox to within 1 run. Honestly, what better way to win over the hearts of Red Sox fans than perform this well against their dreaded rival New York Yankees? Ultimately, these final 4 games gave Castillo some nice totals in a small 10-game sample size at the big
Let's
league
see what
level
weed
in
I got.
2014.
I mean, I'll try
But
and.
unfortunately, this was the last bit of success he found in a Red Sox uniform. Heading to the 2015 season, Castillo once again got a late start following an oblique injury he sustained in early March. A shame because the center field job was up for grabs.
If only I would focus, I'd be lit. Be lit, fam. I can't. It won't focus. There we go. Actually, our rounds package, like Tahoe OG, I think, something like that. Whoa. Hey, buddy. What's up, Rocky? Come here. Come here. Hey, stay. Come on. Oh, my boy. That's my little dude. Oh, my boy. Hi. Hi. That's my man. That's my man. Oh, yeah. You like that? You like that, little man? Yeah. Seriously, yeah, it's caked, bro. Like, if I took it out of the fucking thing and put it in my hand, I'm sure it would have focused. But I'm just lazy. Hey, my boo-boo. Oh, my boy. Oh, my guy. How are you? Hmm. Hey. What's up, little guy? You little baby. You little baby. He is smiling right now. It's funny. He's getting all the attention. What a dog.
In 2014, the Sox had Jackie Bradley Jr., who, although only batted 198 in 127 games, was a Gold Glove finalist. And 2011 fifth-round pick Mookie Betts looked poised for a bigger role after excelling in his 52 games the year prior. With Castillo out for an extended period of time, Betts made the decision very easy for the Sox by being, without question, the most electric player in camp, hitting .419 with an over 1200 OPS in 19 games. And ultimately, when the rosters were picked, JBJ and Castillo were headed to Pawtucket, while Betts remained with the big boys as a leadoff hitter and sole owner of the center field position. When Castillo moved to the minors, he was doing well right off the bat, going 5 for 12 in his first 3 games. But on April 11th, following an attempt at a diving catch, he injured his shoulder and went on the 15-day disabled list, giving Betts even more time to solidify his position as an outfielder of the future for the Sox. But in late May, Shane Victorino, the Sox's preferred right fielder at the time, went down injured with a calf strain, giving Castillo the everyday
haven't heard in a
role.
long time.
This was it. It was finally time for him to break out and show the MLB world that he was going to live up to the heavy price tag. But he didn't. Instead, he struggled mightily with the bat, hitting just .253 with a .647 OPS in 80 games. One of the biggest red flags, his only 13 walks to 54 strikeouts. That is a horrible ratio. In fact, he was so poor that he was optioned once again to the minor leagues in late June, and in total at AAA he featured in 40 games with little power and a slash line which included just a .385 slugging and .722 OPS. For the level, those are numbers that will never impress anyone. making it a disappointing first full season for Castillo in the organization. But I will say, for the first chunk of games he had at the majors in 2015, he was everything the club was hoping for, and he even had the ability to take games in his own hands, which was shown in Boston's 5-4 win over the White Sox, in which he had all 5 RBIs, 3 off of a homer in the top of the second, and 2 off a double in the top of the 6th. That was his 48th game of the season, and during that time he had a stellar 305 with an OPS almost touching 800 before falling off a cliff in the last month of the season where he hit just 194. His poor play became even more detrimental to his role in the Red Sox, as both Mookie Betts and JBJ excelled in 2015. Betts, for example, got off to a rocky start with just a 234 average and 658 OPS in his first 59 games, but turned things around and from that point onwards hit 328 with an OPS of 923 for the remainder of the season, giving him a total of 6.1 WAR. And JBJ, as mentioned, joined Castillo in AAA to start the year, but unlike him was a positive addition when he was called up, posting a 249 average and 882 OPS in his 74 games, yielding 2 WAR despite the limited playing time. In total, Betts and JBJ overshadowed Castillo in every part of his game, and moving forward it made the Sox's decision to keep him on the roster all the more challenging. But with Hanley Ramirez, the club's left fielder destined for a move to first base in 2016, Castillo still had left field to claim as his, with JBJ manning center and Betts in right. But off the bat, he wasn't in favor with manager John Farrell, as he elected to roll out Brock Holt on opening day in left, and Chris Young, the only other bench outfielder, was the platoon option used to pair with him. Castillo was, however, given the chance to start against the Blue Jays on April 9th, where he went 2 for 4 with a double. Not much more you can do, but just a few days later, he was optioned back to the minor leagues, with manager John Farrell stating the club is happy with its outfield depth and won't necessarily feel the need to replace Castillo with another outfield option. This proves that he was not needed by the Sox anymore. He was once the outfielder of the future, but after Mookie Betts and Jackie Bradley Jr. started to outperform him, as well as Brock Holt emerging as a successor to Hanley Ramirez in left, there was no place for him and his struggling bat to slot into. So off he went to the minor leagues, where once again things did not go well. Now, unfortunately, there is no way to find games for his form in the minors, so I'll have to share with you his full season stats. In total, he played 103 games, managed just 2 homers and 34 RBIs, as well as a slash line including just a 263 average and 664 OPS. Those figures are horrible and a huge step back from his 2015 display at AAA, and even that was underwhelming. The Sox, however, gave him one last chance by recalling him to help on the bench in June, and on the 16th against the Baltimore Orioles, he was given the spot start where he flew out in his first at-bat, struck out looking in the 5th, then swinging in the 8th. And unbeknownst to everyone watching, his teammates in the dugout, and especially Rusney himself, this was the final at-bat of his major league career. Just a couple days later on June 20th, he was officially placed on outright waivers, which, for those of you who do not know what that entails, being placed on waivers essentially means that other 29 major league clubs have the opportunity to claim him. The claiming club assumes responsibility for the remaining money owed to the claimed player, who is placed on his new club's 40-man roster. Rusney went unclaimed, much to the shock of everyone. No, not really, because he was still owed a whopping $46 million between 2017 to 2020.
Damn.
Why on earth would a team take on that big of a salary for a player that wouldn't contribute more than the guys they already had on their roster? This put Rusney into baseball purgatory, because there was a rule the Red Sox were exploiting to get out of his $10+ million luxury tax hit. And that's by putting him through waivers to take him off the 40-man roster, something that would not work today, as the CBA agreement in 2017 changed that rule to make teams take the luxury tax hit on players that were outrighted through waivers off the 40-man. But could you blame the Sox for doing so? $10 million is a lot of money and could buy a decent impact talent. So Castillo had to try again in 2017, but there was no opportunity for him. For one, the Sox didn't want to take that hit on their luxury tax, and two, because Andrew Benintendi emerged in 2016 as the club's future left fielder, deeming Castillo even more useless to the organization. So off he went to AAA, where he spent the whole 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020 seasons, although COVID stopped the minors in 2020. But anyways, it was truly sad to witness, because he finally started to find his footing towards the end of his contract, managing to win 2 team MVP awards, as well as having the highest average and second most hits in AAA during the 2018 season.
Sounds like he was just like a AAA beast.
To hit for extra bases.
That's
I know
it.
it was AAA.
You just couldn't make the adjustment in the pros, you know? Thousands of those.
In the year 2003, South Korea was gripped by a newly emerging serial killer. It would take almost 1 year to track him down, but by then, he had murdered more than 20 victims and even escaped from prison. So, who is Yoo Young-chul? What were the motives behind his many murders? And what happened in his life to create such a sick and twisted monster? In this video, we will explore his morbid history and how he would become one of South Korea's most feared men. Welcome back to Coffee House Crime, folks. My name is Adrian, and today we're looking at a case that gripped South Korea.
It looks like my
like
buddy
no
Keenan.
other. In this video, we're
Holy
looking
shit,
at the morbid
they're
world of
identical.
Yoo Young-chul, and
They
how his
even got, like,
terrible
the same,
actions
like,
led
little
him to achieve
earpiece
one
and
of the
shit.
highest body counts
Oh,
this
yeah,
channel has
spooky.
ever seen. By the way, if you like videos like this, then please consider subscribing, as it does really help me out. Otherwise, grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's caffeinate while we investigate. This is the case of Yoo Young-chul.
Well, we investigate.
Welcome back to South Korea, folks. Also known as the land of the morning calm. Although we have explored this country before, it is important to, much like Japan,
level 80
South
attack.
Korea is an extremely safe place to be.
You gotta do
Although it's not
exclamation
relatively
point
as safe as
heist and then
Switzerland,
type in
Norway,
the
or
amount
Japan,
that you
it
want.
does
You
rank
know what I
much
mean?
higher in safety standards than many
Exclamation
Western
point
countries,
heist and then
including
like
France
100
or the USA.
or something
It
like
is
that.
crucial
Whatever
to
amount you want to
specify that
gamble.
when discussing Korea, we are of course
You know what
referring
I'm
to South Korea for rather obvious reasons. Its northern brother is the most isolated, secretive, and militarized country in the world, so it's rather unlikely that we're going to hear a true crime story from them anytime soon. Moving back to its brighter and more friendly neighbor, South Korea.
Join
boasts
up,
a
boys,
prosperous
get in the
economy with
heist.
stunning
You gotta do, I think,
landscapes,
10 or more.
mountains,
I think you had
plains,
10 or more.
and rice paddies to boot. And let's not forget
Maybe,
about
I don't know.
Korean cuisine, a delightful blend of
I don't know.
spicy and
I don't
sweet
know.
flavors that cater to all palates across the globe. Heads up, but I've got a very soft spot for
Your
Korean
playlist be
barbecue. It's
bipolar,
quite a nice
same.
social dining experience where you cook raw meat
Same.
and vegetables together and enjoy various dishes and condiments at your
Maybe
own
it's just
pace.
me and
Food
I think about
aside,
it.
because
Don't
honestly I
know.
could talk about that all day. 23, 7 upbeat. Our story today begins 2 decades ago in the year 2003, and it's probably worth saying that, although this is the first officially recorded event, it is not necessarily the beginning. On the morning of September the 24th, 2003, an eerie silence ran through the fog-topped rice paddies and into the bustling city. For most, today was like any other day, but for the faculty staff of Seoul University, something seemed amiss. 74-year-old Professor Lee Deok-soo failed to show up to work that morning. While his absence perplexed his colleagues and students, nothing seemed to be done about it in the first couple days. But as the days drew by, that feeling of wonder turned into concern. His workplace couldn't get hold of him, and with the days piling up, many grew worried for his own safety. As many of these stories begin, the authorities were called for a wellness check, and unfortunately, after arriving at his residence, they were met with a sad and gruesome scene. Officers wouldn't find one, but 2 bodies. Lee Deok-soo and his wife Lee Yeon-uk were both found inside the property, among a very messy and violent crime scene. Forensics determined that, although he had been stabbed in the neck, this wasn't actually the cause of his death. He had suffered blunt force trauma across his head and multiple parts of his body. Now, statistically speaking, homicide is quite rare for elderly people in their 70s. And to add to this, both of these people were quite well liked in the neighborhood and had no enemies. And the motive was just as perplexing. With Deok-soo being a professor, it was quite obvious to say that the Lee family were relatively wealthy. But with all valuables remaining in the property, this clearly wasn't about the money. I mean, whoever the killer was, they even left a case filled to the brim with jewelry in the bedroom. So this clearly wasn't with intention for profit. In cases like this with no obvious motive, the killer almost always knows the victims. However, upon further investigation, officers realized that all family and friends had an alibi. And so, with no obvious suspects, officers began to dig deeper into the investigation. Just as detectives began to tuck into this case, another startling revelation came only 2 weeks later. On October the 9th, another incident was reported to the authorities. The home of another family in Seoul had been invaded, and upon entering the property, officers found 3 bodies. Kang Yun-sun, an 85-year-old wealthy woman, alongside her 60-year-old daughter-in-law and her 35-year-old handicapped son, had all been murdered. It was noted that this home was occupied by 3 vulnerable individuals, making them easy targets for their assailant. Once again, it was a violent and bloody scene, and the smell of blood was thick in the air. Officers found the grandmother's body in the downstairs bathroom, and after ascending the blood-covered staircase, they found the other 2. Forensic investigators observed that all had suffered a very violent death, which unfortunately was a horrific way for the husband of the grandmother to find his family. After investigating the crime scene and all possible suspects, detectives once again found no leads. The husband, who came home from work to find his wife, daughter, and grandson murdered, was quite understandably beyond devastated. He told the officers that he couldn't think of anyone who would want to do this to his family, and apparently, in desperate grief, he even screamed at the family's fish tank to tell the fish, "Did you see who did it? Tell me you know who did." Sadly, this second murder scene was only the beginning of a series of patterned attacks.
Sorry to everyone else that
later,
lost. That's
yet
just
another similar scene would unfold in the Seoul area. That was when 60-year-old Yoo Jun-hee was found by her son in the afternoon. It was immediately clear that she was near death after being savagely beaten with what authorities could only describe as a large hammer. And although she was alive when her son arrived, she sadly passed away only 30 minutes later. 1 month later,
that's what you call
another
heartbreak.
elderly wealthy man was found dead in his home. 87-year-old Kim Jong-suk was found deceased alongside his housekeeper, that being 53-year-old Bae Ji-hee. Both of them had been bludgeoned to death
does
with
a
a
really
hammer,
good job
and
pronouncing
according
their
to the
names.
blood
I don't think
found
I'd
at the
be able
crime
to do
scene, they were killed as they slept in their beds. What was strange about this time is that the house had also been set on fire in an act of arson, supposedly and most likely to destroy any evidence left behind. And unfortunately, the killer was successful too. The authorities found no substantial clues or leads, and the only evidence left behind were a few bloody
Let's go, we
footprints.
got the level,
It became
baby.
clear that whoever was
The
behind
lady
this
attack.
long streak of brutal murders was specifically targeting wealthy elderly people in the city. To have 5 individual homicide incidents happen in such a short time frame was certainly concerning for the authorities, and it definitely kept the public on their toes. What is worse is that nobody knew if the killer would strike again. They didn't
Combat
know
level
if this was an
104.
isolated series of
Let's go, chat.
events, or if he would keep on going until he was caught. But at the turn of the new year, Seoul's brand new serial killer would all of a sudden stop. And that was for very good reason, because it was around this time frame that officers found one small but crucial piece of evidence. And that was surveillance footage. With this happening in the year 2003, surveillance cameras were still relatively rare in Seoul. However, the owner to a nearby business installed a camera and found something very interesting on the night of a murder. The surveillance camera captured this image of a man coming from the direction of the crime scene. And while that in itself was not alarming to the detectives, it became far more significant to the investigation when one of the murdered family members claimed that his jacket belonged to the victim. The decision to release this image to the
pretty
public
wild.
was not considered lightly, but in the end, officers decided that they would have more success in finding their killer if people knew about it. They also offered a huge 1 million won reward for any information that led to the arrest of this killer, the equivalent of $37,000 or £30,000. Now, although the news was sure to stop the killer for a short while, he would eventually return at the turn of the new year. But this time, his targets were the complete opposite of his previous victims, leading many to believe that maybe Seoul was experiencing 2 separate serial killers. Starting in February of 2004, Seoul found itself trapped in a series of chilling disappearances. But instead of elderly people being murdered in their own homes, it was now young women vanishing across the city. It was 1 month later, in March of 2004, that one of those women's bodies was discovered. The remains of 23-year-old Kwon Jin-hee were found along a trail near Sogang University. What was somewhat puzzling to officers is that her remains were not actually complete. Her body had been dismembered into several smaller pieces, with what seemingly seemed to be multiple chunks of flesh absent from her body. Jin-hee was a young woman working in Seoul's red light district, and sadly, as is often the case for sex workers, she didn't have the best support network around her. Engaging in night work often comes with a substantial risk to one's safety, and unfortunately, it often comes as no surprise when sex workers disappear. Many of these women are often faced with financial hardship, are coerced into the profession out of necessity, or alternatively are abducted under false pretenses such as innocent-sounding job offers. And although prostitution was technically illegal in Seoul at the time, corrupt police officers would often turn a blind eye. In fact, some of those officers would even take bribes and form working relationships with many of the working women's pimps. Unfortunately, our mysterious serial killer realized this was a prime community to target. Slowly, over time, many within the red light district began to notice that more and more women were disappearing, and by July of that year, several sex workers were confirmed to have vanished. To be more precise, between April and July of 2004, 9 women disappeared from the Mapogu area of Seoul. It was also noted that all of them had seemingly disappeared overnight, usually after accepting a job. Now, most of these jobs involved the escorts going to a pre-arranged location such as a home or a hotel, which in general is much safer than going to the red light district. And perhaps no surprise whatsoever, but this would eventually be the beginning to our serial killer's downfall. It was in July of 2004 that one of those local brothels received an at-home request for an escort. Now, this brothel already experienced one of their escorts to disappear a few weeks prior, one who still hadn't returned. And so, with that in mind, they were extra careful with the women that they had left. And that is when they realized that this request came from the same phone number used for the escort that had already vanished. Now, with pimps and covert police officers having regular contact with each other, this was the perfect opportunity for them to collaborate and bring whoever this person was down.
Damn, the pimps
And
are
so,
protecting
at
their
2
girls,
a.m.
yo,
on
that's
July 15th,
wild.
2004, that call
That's
was
wild.
made to
They're
the
like, yo, don't be
authorities.
fucking with my
And
money,
this would
boy.
mark the beginning to an interesting operation. Detectives
That's
had no
insane,
idea what
actually.
to expect, and so they organized a typical sting operation, working with the informant and one of his local call girls. And so, after
That's
setting
hilarious,
the scene with a
dude.
rigged park and a squad nearby, they waited with bated breath for their suspect to finally arrive. And in the early morning hours, that is when he appeared out of the darkness. It became immediately apparent that, whoever this suspect was, he did have something to hide. That's because, when confronted by officers, the man suddenly went berserk. In fact, he resisted his arrest so violently that it took 5 officers to subdue him. What is strange is that immediately after being pinned to the ground, officers found him to be choking on something in his mouth. They soon realized that he had chewed up the call girl's flyer, and was now trying to swallow it in a desperate effort to destroy the evidence. No surprise, he was apprehended and then arrested, and soon after being transferred to the station, the frantic man was identified to be 32-year-old Yu Young-chul, who, the chief officer noted at the time, was an average to good-looking man, and a far cry from the stereotypical serial killer. Now, we have heard of this before in other countries, but Korean law states that you may only hold a suspect for up to 48 hours without evidence, or then be forced to let them go. So, the game was on for detectives to find some sort of evidence to link him. Conveniently, he had already proven to have a rather violent temper upon arrest. And so, with this information at hand, the interrogators planned to use this to their advantage.
You just gotta do
Surprisingly,
exclamation point,
he proved to
redeem,
be arrogant and even proud in in
Steam
his seat,
space
telling the
toke.
officers that he was the one in charge and they had no control whatsoever. Perhaps a sign of difference in culture and modern day times. But one of the officers then slapped him on the back of his head, which only seemed to anger young Chul even further.
But you have to have the points
Excerpts
to
from
do
the
it.
interview
I
show
don't have
that
enough
the officers
points.
then
I'm starting
taunted
to shit,
him,
and I'm
saying,
sure as
"There is
fuck
no
not
way you
smoking
could have
one
killed
for free right
anyone.
now.
I can tell
I'm
you
so
don't have the
stoked.
stomach for it." Young Chul seethed in his seat before then asking for a piece of
No,
paper. He
Megan,
then
don't
began
put
to draw
the at
lines on the
Streamlabs.
paper, like the markings found on a prison wall. After some time, he then stopped at 30 lines. That is when he said, "An time in his seat." The frantic man was identified to be 30. Now, we have heard of this before in other countries, but Korean law states that you may only hold a suspect for up to 48 hours without evidence, or then be
Like
forced
that.
to let them go.
Ugh.
So, the game was on for detectives to find some sort of evidence to link him. Conveniently, he had already proven to have a rather violent temper upon arrest. And so, with this information at hand, the interrogators planned to use this to their advantage. Surprisingly, he proved to be arrogant and
good.
even proud in his seat, telling the officers that he was the one in charge and they had no control whatsoever. Perhaps a sign of difference in culture and modern day times, but one of the officers then slapped him on the back of his head, which only seemed to anger young Chul even further. Excerpts from the interview show that the officers then taunted him, saying, "There is no way you could have killed anyone. I can tell you don't have the stomach for it." Young Chul seethed in his seat before then asking for a piece of paper. He then began to draw lines on the paper, like the markings found on a prison wall. After some time, he then stopped at 30 lines. That is when he said, "That is how many people I have killed. I killed those 4 old bags too." How times have changed. Nowadays, it can take months to crack a serial killer. Back
Yeah,
then, all you had to do was
in
slap
Korea,
them
all
on
you
the
gotta do
back
is
of the
smack
head
him on the
and
back
they
of the
tell you
head.
everything. Being serious though, his confession did take many officers by surprise. I mean, a few of them wondered if he was perhaps behind these escorts disappearing, but no one expected him to be murdering the elderly too. And so, Yu Young Chul was asked to prove it. In response, he was taken around half a mile away from one of the crime scenes and asked which home he invaded. But after failing to go to the right property, several of those officers began to have doubts. Furthermore, nothing that Yu Young Chul recounted matched the crime scene, leading many to believe that maybe he was bluffing, while others still remained skeptical. Well, let me tell you a little secret here, but this man, he really was their killer. He was just too stupid to remember. So, with all of this in mind, who precisely was Yu Young Chul? And with his motive so seemingly unclear, what caused him to supposedly murder 30 people? Well, as it turns out, Young Chul has actually been in prison before, boasting 14 convictions for minor offenses and acts of violence such as theft, identity fraud, forgery, sexual abuse, and even the distribution of indecent images involving minors. All of which collectively
That
meant
looks like
that he
Michael
had
Jackson.
spent a total of 9 years in prison. At this point in time, the officers recognized that they were dealing with a violent man who enjoyed power play and sadistic games. To make things even worse, he decided to play with the officers by faking an epileptic seizure. And this is where the authorities made a horrendous mistake. And that's because after loosening his restraints and leaving him alone in the interrogation room,
Killed
Yu Young
himself.
Chul escaped from the station. Now this was extremely embarrassing for the precinct. They had quite literally allowed a serial killer to escape from prison. And what's worse, he might strike again. And so, they made their way back to the red light district, where they then notified brothel owners that he was once again on the run. But thankfully, Young Chul's newfound freedom would not last very long. In a moment of sheer luck, they found the man walking across a crosswalk as if nothing had happened. And of course, after tackling him to the ground, Young Chul would once again put up another tough
serial
fight.
killer in South
In a matter
Korea,
of just
or Seoul,
24
Korea.
hours, Yu Young Chul was once again in custody. But this time, time, he seemed to be rather cooperative with the authorities. The thing is, you see, he was not ashamed of his actions. In fact, he seemed to be rather proud to telling them how he murdered his victims. And let me tell you, it's honestly not for those with a weak stomach. Soon enough, he would confess to murdering his elderly victims, and that, furthermore, he murdered them by bludgeoning them with various blunt objects, including a very large hammer. In order to prove to investigators that he genuinely did carry out these murders, he created maps depicting the layout of each house. This also included where the bodies were found and various items of interest. Young Chul claimed that his motive behind these murders was not theft or burglary, but instead was a simple disdain for the wealthy. He claimed to have grown up in near poverty and spent most of his adult life behind bars while trying to make a name for himself. And so, with all of these efforts in vain, he grew hatred to those who simply had it easy. He also claimed to have murdered 9 female escorts by calling up various agencies, collecting handed out flyers from the red light district, and then looking through various personal ads to find his victims. He would then meet up with them to utilize their services, lead them back to his apartment and have sex with them, and then plan to murder them. Young Chul would use his bathroom as a gateway to hell. It was in that room that he would grab his hammer, sneak up behind them while they were freshening up, and then beat them to death. With him living on the 3rd floor of an apartment complex, he would then place their bodies in the bathtub before removing their heads with a meat cleaver, and then he would hang that head on the wall. After that, he would then carefully separate the body into several more pieces so they could all fit into small plastic bags. And taking things one step further, he would even pay for his own x-rays so he could study his body and get a more straightforward cut. I guess this is yet another hallmark of a vintage serial killer, because nowadays
That's pretty
you just go on
wild,
Google,
bro.
but I guess back then they didn't have that luxury. After the grisly
That's
cleanup, he would then
wild.
drive them out to the countryside, hike up a mountain trail, and then bury their bodies in a shallow grave. In the end, all of his victims lay less than 1 meter apart from each other, and under only 50 centimeters of dirt. As proof, he was more than happy to lead the authorities to the grave sites, where all 9 bodies recovered were marked with trash used as gravestones. Young Chul also shared that, while his hatred towards the wealthy was his initial motive, that did actually change over time. In the year 2003, Young Chul discovered that his girlfriend was actually an escort, and when she refused to stop seeing other men, he took that betrayal way too personally. Alongside this unfortunate incident, his new partner had also found out about his previous criminal record, and after finding out about how much of a monster he really was, she swiftly cut ties with him. This gave young Chul a deep resentment towards women, especially escorts. And so, consequently,
Because he's a
it
freak?
threw him into a rage that reignited his murderous impulses.
Because
Now,
he's a
despite
freak,
the
it pissed him
frequent
off.
rejections,
That's hilarious.
Young Chul was not always unlucky with love. In fact, he had been married once before in the year 1992 and had even had a son with his wife. However, this marriage fell apart shortly after the birth of their child, leaving young Chul to be single for most of his remaining adult life. Young Chul claimed that he was an average man during the daytime. However, as night fell, his dark and violent tendencies would come out to play. Even more disturbing, he claims to have eaten some of his victims, most notably their livers, and this is why some parts of their bodies were missing. It was clear that he relished the power over his victims, and he was confident and even proud about their murders. And so, for quite obvious reasons, this case literally haunted the country of South Korea, and Yu Young Chul became one of the most prolific serial killers to date. Throughout court proceedings, Young Chul would often stand in front of cameras and crowds and proudly announce that he was responsible for the murders he had committed. Roughly translated, he would tell them, "Women shouldn't be sluts, and the rich, they know what they've done." No surprise, but as part of his trial, he was assessed by a criminal psychologist, but was not deemed to be mentally compromised.
Hear that,
It
women?
also
Don't be
became evident
sluts.
that he was aware of the immorality of his actions,
Oh,
recognized through his
fucking
efforts
guy.
to conceal bodies and then evade the law. Furthermore, psychologists believe that he had created his own belief system and exhibited signs of antisocial personality disorder. It was on September the 6th,
Oh, that's
2004
Fucking
that
dummy.
young Chul made his first court appearance. During this time, he refused to defend himself and told the authorities that he would not attend the rest of his trial. Unlucky for him, he had no choice, but during his forced attendance, he did become quite agitated and even lunged at officials when upset. Anyway, on December the 13th, 2004, Yu Young Chul was found guilty of 20 counts of murder. And no surprise, in line with Korea's judicial system, he was sentenced to death for his crimes. The Seoul District Court responded with, "Murders of as many as 20 people are unprecedented in the nation and a very serious crime. The death penalty is inevitable for you in light of the enormous pains inflicted on the families concerned and the
What do I
entire
level
society."
up
Since
here?
then, Young Chul has been
Honestly.
held at the Seoul Detention Center under maximum security
Redeem
for the
tug,
past
there's like
2
a 15-minute
decades,
cooldown
where
or
to this
something, so I
day,
don't just
he
get
awaits his final
obliterated.
fate.
There's a time where
Although
there's
capital
no cooldown.
punishment is
Or
indeed
it's just
permissible
like
by
toke
law
after
in South
toke after
Korea,
toke
it
after
has
toke,
not
like you're trying
actually
to
been
get me to
carried
do
out
golden.
since the year 1997. During his
So,
trial, Young Chul
yeah.
actually thanked the judge for receiving the death penalty, and so I can imagine that he is not too pleased with the delay. Unless, of course, he was acting badass for the attention. What is sad, though, is that many innocent individuals lost their lives to this monster. All because he wanted revenge and power
Sounds
for not
good,
feeling in control over his own life. His victims were partners, parents,
Goodfellas.
sons and daughters.
There you go.
And I'm sure their loved ones miss them to this very day. Although Yu Young Chul claims to have murdered 30 people,
Goodfellas.
only 20 are guaranteed. Even still, at least 20 people will never know the future that they were supposed to have, all because of the terrible actions of one selfish individual. Let us hope that the families of these victims will find peace in knowing that he will never see another day of freedom. And I suppose that brings us to the end of this haunting story. I'm not going to lie, this was quite a heavy one to cover, and some of the details needed heavy filtering.
Chillins, you know what you're saying?
What's up, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. We have a massive, and I mean a massive update on Ohtani versus Ippei. Ippei is about to plead guilty in front of a federal judge. The Naylor brothers, they made some history. They both went yard in one inning.
To
but
protect
that's
the
not even best
baseball's
part.
golden
20-year-old
star.
Jackson Holiday, he made his MLB debut, and it did not start off very well. And the Blue Jays manager, he basically said that Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh was an easy out. He opened his mouth and then bad things happened. This is going to be a fun recap. Before we show the highlights, shout out to you guys. You've been supporting Recap like crazy. We're so close to 500,000 subs. Can we get to 490 today? We're like 400 subs away. And just a reminder, if you're going to any games or concerts anytime soon, save yourself 20 bucks off on SeatGeek. I promise you guys, I am going to talk about Ohtani versus Ippei as well as the Dodgers game. But right now, I got to talk about this White Sox versus Guardians game. For the second straight day, the Guardians found themselves in an early 5-0 hole versus the White Sox. Gavin Sheets, have yourself a day. He smoked an RBI double, then ripped a long 3-run tater. He's been their best hitter to start the young season, but here come the Bash brothers. No, not Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco. These are actual brothers. Josh Naylor, he pimped a no-doubter, and then a few minutes later, his little brother went yard. They homer in the same inning on National Siblings Day. Steven Kwan, he got in on the 4-base action. He launched one. Kwan is hitting .390, and he's number 1 in base hits right now with 22. He leads all of MLB. Chicago, they blew it in the 6th after hitting David Fry with the bases loaded. So it's 5-5. Clase, he was trying his best to blow the comeback. Runners at first and third, nobody out. That is massive from Brian Rocchio. He scampers to second after looking towards third to make sure the runner wasn't going home. And then Clase got Lennon Sosa to weakly ground out. We had to extras where Gavin Sheets, he went perfect again. This time on a line drive past Laureano. But remember, it's National Sibling Day. Josh Crack won the other way to tie it on a double. In steps little bro Bo. ball game. They make history, and for the first time in 22 years, the Guardians have won the first of their 4 series to begin a season. Let's get the Dodger game out the way before we break down the Ippei versus Shohei situation. So Teoscar, he barely got his bat to that pitch, but he poked it the other way for the game's first run. That's 15 RBIs. He also has a 355 on base, which would easily set a career high if he can maintain it. This kid can flat out hit a baseball. He goes the other way, and then Buxton, he put the Twins up by 1 on a single. He was ice cold with runners in score position. He was over 33 coming into that at bat. Muncy, he found a barrel. He's going to try and muscle it out, and he does. It's tied again. Julian, he's trying to do it again, like deja vu. That's some serious pop to go the other way twice in one game. In his first 119 games as a big leaguer, he has 19 home runs and a 129 OPS plus. But what has been the trend of the video? Minnesota scores, and the Dodgers answer right back. Freeman lays one down the line, and Ohtani, he's going to turn on the burners, and he's going to see if he can score all the way from first. Correa threw
he's out.
seed like an absolute
No,
god.
he's out.
He got him. The umpire initially missed it, but replay confirmed that Ohtani's foot got tagged.
Yeah,
he
out.
scored. That was 93 miles an hour out the hand of Correa. We had some more replay action.
Fucking see that shit from a mile away. Alright, you relax there, little man. We'll go say hi. Go say hi. All right, my mom's home, and I'm gonna go do a puzzle with her. So, I'll talk to you guys later. I hope y'all have a good one. Appreciate the love today. Hope y'all have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye.